opening statements from the candidates. The moderators, ABC's David Muir and Lindsay Davis, will get right into questions. There is no audience in the room at the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia. The microphones will be muted when it's not the candidate's turn to speak. And Donald Trump won the coin toss, so he'll have the final word at the end of the debate. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
And we will have live coverage of tomorrow's ABC debate starting at 9 p.m. right here on 95.5 WSB, your 2024 election station. Tropical storm Francine has formed and is expected to intensify into a hurricane before making landfall along the Louisiana coast on Wednesday. And WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards says that we could have some heavy rain late this week from Francine, so check back often for updates. We'll keep an eye on it for you. Let's take a look at the markets here at noon. The Dow right now is up 553 points at 40,899. So the Dow's up more than 1%. NASDAQ's up also more than 1%, and so is the S&P. Now, live team coverage of traffic and weather. Veronica Harrell's in the WSB 24-hour traffic center on this Monday afternoon.
And right now, dealing with delays over in Kennesaw. Got a crash in the right lane, 575 northbound over at Bells Ferry Road. Exit for it is clearing from the right lane, but still you're dealing with some delays. Elsewhere, still really jammed up. Some type of trouble. I-20 eastbound, east to 285. This is over in Fulton County. At least one lane is blocked, really slowing things down for you. And now checking on a slow zone on the connector, 75, 85 southbound, right around North Avenue, exit 249, causing brake lights through downtown. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
It's time now for Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast, sponsored by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of summer. Here's WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards.
Sunny skies today, high 85, sunset around 7:50. Temperatures will be in the upper 70s, then cooling down to the upper 50s, low 60s for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, sunshine, high 87. The breeze kicking up by Wednesday and the clouds rolling in, daytime high 84. That's associated with a tropical system that'll bring rain showers for Thursday and Friday. Daytime highs in the mid-70s, as much as 2 to 3 inches rainfall possible between Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday.
All right, WSB Storm Tracker radar is clear. We have lots of sunshine right now in Midtown Atlanta. We are at 80 degrees on Peachtree Street, at 76 in Winder. Chamblee has 78 degrees. We'll have more news at 12:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
All right, friends, the 5K a day bonus blitz keyword is SPA. S-P-A, SPA. Enter the keyword SPA into the WSB Radio app or go to WSBradio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 for your chance to win $1,000. You get a call from a number you don't recognize after 12:30. Pick it up. It could be us telling you won $1,000. Again, the 5K a day bonus blitz keyword is SPA. S-P-A. Good luck.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. I am delighted to have you. It's Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. The phone number is 877-973-7425 if you want to be on the program. If you text Eric to 33777, you can get the show notes, the live stream, the podcast, everything you need. And also, I really, really, really do hope that you might text the word Army to 33777 and put in your contact info so we can reach out to you as we start going around the country. We have 56 days, 12 hours, 52 minutes until the election is over. We are less than 60 days away till the voting starts. Praise Jesus, it's almost here. We're going through a political realignment in the country. I want to start with the Cheney endorsement. It should not have the news that it has, but of course it does, in part because the American Press Corps wants to highlight such a dramatic shift. In 2020, Liz Cheney called Kamala Harris a radical progressive, too far left. She and her father, Dick Cheney, and the Cheney family have now come together to endorse Kamala Harris. Unlike many of my friends on the right, I'm not going to attack the Cheneys. I actually think very highly of the Cheneys. I know Liz not well. I know her parents. And I'm not going to attack them. I just fundamentally disagree with them. I understand why, though. We do a poor job, I think, these days of putting ourselves in other people's shoes. if you can for just a minute, consider that there are people in the country, maybe not you, but there are people in the country who view January 6th as absolutely disqualifying. I have good friends of mine who cannot vote for Donald Trump because of January 6th. I have good friends of mine who cannot vote for Kamala Harris because of how she bailed out the people in jail who were burning down the small businesses in Wisconsin and Minneapolis and St. Paul. There are moments where some people decide, you know what, this is disqualifying. And for the Cheneys, what happened on January 6th was disqualifying. You can say, well, Donald Trump also beat up Liz Cheney. He didn't like her. She didn't like him. It's personal. You can say whatever you want, but the fact of the matter is this. Democrats, up until 5 seconds ago, considered Dick Cheney a war criminal. And now suddenly he's a great patriot. Dick Cheney has restored himself in the eyes of the Democrats, not the left. They still hate his guts. But he's restored himself in the eyes of the Democratic Party by coming out and saying he's supporting Kamala Harris. What very cheap dates the Democrats are. For years, you maligned this guy, and then he says he'll vote for your candidate and all is forgiven. You know, deep down, it's not. They still don't like him, but this is the politics of convenience. And both sides, by the way, play the politics of convenience. But what I find more notable is that the Republican Party of today is not the Republican Party of the Bush era and the Cheney era. By the way, I want to tell you my theory. This is one of my oldest and longest held views in politics. We would not have Donald Trump right now, nor would we have the problems in American politics we're facing right now had Dick Cheney run for president in 2008. Hear me out on this. After a president serves 2 terms, typically his vice president runs and winds up losing. And both the party itself of that candidate and the nation as a whole are able to engage in a referendum on that presidency. Had Dick Cheney run in 2008 against John McCain, Dick Cheney would have undoubtedly become the Republican nominee. And the party of Bush would have become the party of Cheney. Now, ultimately, what happened is Dick Cheney chose not to run for health, age, and all sorts of other reasons, chose not to run. So we had to, as a Republican Party, reopen the wounds from the 2000 primary that was a deeply nasty primary. And, of course, the media history will show, ultimately, the media blamed George W. Bush and praised John McCain, but actually it was the McCain camp that waged a ruthless, nasty war of attrition, and it left some lasting wounds in the party that healed during the course of the Bush administration, and in 2008, those wounds were reopened. And you had Mitt Romney running to the right, along with Fred Thompson and others, against John McCain, who was running as kind of the mushy moderate. And John McCain won because everyone else divided the conservative base. And what was so funny about it is Mitt Romney was running to the right. Well, Mitt Romney then in 2012 ran as the moderate, and all the conservatives split the vote, and Romney won by running as the McCain of 2012. And all those wounds reopened and festered, and the conservatives divided themselves up in such a way that they couldn't win. And in the process of doing so, had to refight fights going back to the year 2000. And by the year 2016, everybody was fighting with each other in the Republican Party. They all felt like the Republican leaders had betrayed them. The Republican senators and the Republican members of the House were cutting deals with Barack Obama. They were driving up spending. They weren't standing firm. And along comes Donald Trump. Says, I'm going to smash every idol in the Republican Party. And I'm going to be the bull in the china shop. And I'm going to remake the Republican Party in my image. And a lot of Republicans said, okay, let's go. And they did it all because Dick Cheney did not run in 2008, so the party was not able to have a referendum on the George W. Bush legacy. And so it festered and the frustration built over the war, the conduct of the war, and everything that followed until 2016, when George W. Bush's brother Jeb ran, and finally the party could have the referendum they had wanted to have had Dick Cheney run, and they had it with Jeb Bush, who raised and spent more money than anybody else in that race and lost. And the party successfully decided it had moved beyond the Bushes. So, of course, there's a level of political realignment in this country now. Many of the well-to-do, white, college-educated voters who used to align with the Republicans are now Democrats. Many of the working-class Democratic Party voters have shifted over to the Republican side. In fact, for all the bellyaching and cheering several weeks ago when some polling suggested that Kamala Harris had seen the working class shift in her direction, it's not actually true. All the polling since, including the recent New York Times Siena College poll that shows Donald Trump beating her by a point, shows the working class is dramatically moving towards the GOP. In Georgia, in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, the white working class is moving to the GOP in ways we haven't seen since the Reagan era. So the Cheneys, who have been lifelong rock-ribbed Republicans, find themselves at a point where the party dynamics have shifted. And they, whether you like them or not, care about the country. They view Donald Trump as an existential threat to the country, in large part because of January 6th. And so they've decided they're going to vote for Kamala Harris. George W. Bush released a statement after the Cheneys came out for Harris and says, I'm just staying out of it. Good for him. He doesn't have to. But you've got the Cheneys now with the Democrats. You have Robert F. Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard with Donald Trump. We're in a very weird political realignment. And so for a lot of Americans, you don't quite know where you belong. You like some of this with the one party. You like some of that with the other party. You don't feel like you belong to either party, which is one of the reasons the number of self-identified independents continues to go up in this country. People don't want to be in a cult of personality like they feel like Donald Trump has, but they don't like Kamala Harris's progressive values and politics. So maybe they show up, maybe they vote for Trump and hold their nose, maybe they vote for Trump and cheer, maybe they just don't vote. I've gotten beat up a lot by Trump supporters for telling people, if you just can't bring yourself to vote for Donald Trump, just leave that line blank. Don't go vote for Harris. They're interpreting me as encouraging people not to vote for Trump. Well, if you can't vote for Trump, if you philosophically decided you can't, as I would tell the Cheneys, don't vote for Kamala Harris, because Kamala Harris doesn't care that you're voting for her to stop Donald Trump. What she's going to interpret it as an affirmation for her policies. So if you don't like Harris, but you can't vote for Trump, just leave that line blank instead of giving your vote to Harris, who's going to treat it as an endorsement of her policies, even though that's not why you would vote for her. And I think the Cheneys probably should have, the wiser course would have been, we do not want a progressive revolution in this country, which we'll get with Kamala Harris, but we don't like Trump, so we're going to just leave the line blank. That would, I think, have more impact and probably encourage more people. I just don't think, despite what the media is saying, I do not think you're going to see a massive wave of people go vote for Kamala Harris because Dick Cheney is. I don't think these endorsements matter. In the same way, there's been no polling bump for Donald Trump from an RFK Jr. endorsement. There's not going to be a polling bump for Kamala Harris for a Cheney endorsement. In fact, there might actually be some people who say, oh my God, if this is Dick Cheney, he was a war criminal, I'm not going to vote for Kamala Harris now. She might lose some votes over the Cheney endorsement. But the media, of course, loves this because the media despises Donald Trump and the Republican Party under Donald Trump. And so though they hated Dick Cheney, the fact that it's too much for Dick Cheney, they can say, well, I mean, if it's too much for him, it should be too much for anybody. They don't like Cheney. When Dick Cheney dies, I will memorialize him as a patriot who loved his country. Because he does, by the way. You may disagree with him, but Dick Cheney was the guy in the Bush White House who pushed the Bush White House to the right. History will show, and I have plenty of friends, including some diehard Republican conservative members of Congress who y'all love, who will tell you that back in the 2000s, Cheney led the conservative resistance to some of the Bush project in the White House, including trying to scuttle No Child Left Behind, among other things. Dick Cheney is a committed conservative. He's a committed patriot. He's a loving father. I will say nothing ill about Dick Cheney or Liz, who I know and like. I just fundamentally disagree with them on this. Fundamentally disagree with them. And I think they want people to hear and understand and process that they believe January 6th is so disqualifying, they've got to side with people they don't like in order to stop what they view as an existential threat in Donald Trump. I disagree with them for this reason. I think if Kamala Harris gets elected, she will view their endorsement not as a rejection of Trump, but as an affirmation of her. And it will encourage her to do those bold things that she says she'll do, like pack the Supreme Court, try to get rid of the filibuster in the Senate, impose abortion rights nationwide, force boys into girls' sports, and deny school funding for schools that refuse to go along with it, take away tax-exempt status for churches that don't go along with her agenda, confiscate guns. I think Kamala Harris is a bridge too far politically. And I think sometimes we get so myopically focused on just this one thing we hate so much, we can't see all these other things. It would have been better, I think, for them to have just opted out and said, can't support Trump, but I'm not supporting her. She's radical. But I understand if they did that, they would view themselves as tacitly suggesting to some people, some of you would say tacitly, going with Donald Trump. So they wanted to make a big deal about Kamala Harris. The bottom line, however, is this. It's not going to make a difference. Dick Cheney voting for Kamala Harris is not going to persuade a large amount of people to go to Kamala Harris. The media is giving it disproportionate coverage, and actually, I think given the way the media has packaged Dick Cheney over the last 20 years, it might actually hurt Harris more than help Harris. But at the end of the day, there are not going to be enough Americans to even poll who are going to say, Dick and Liz Cheney are going for Kamala Harris. I guess I should as well. The only people it helps are the people who already decided to vote for Harris, just affirming that, well, they're on Dick Cheney's side, which will probably leave them scratching their head.
Want to be on the show?
Hello?
I love your show.
Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
1221 in the Cooler Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Well, out by the airport over in Fulton County, the Spur 14 eastbound ramp to 285 northbound is shut down. A tractor trailer is turned over and it has a lot of metal piping that has also spilled onto the ramp. So this is going to be shut down for a while, folks. Go ahead and avoid that. Moving elsewhere, finally cleared up the trouble. I-20 eastbound, just east of 285 over in Fulton County. Lanes are back open, but still you're dealing with some delay. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
All right, friends, the 5K a day bonus blitz keyword is SPA. S-P-A, SPA. Enter the keyword SPA into the WSB Radio app or go to WSBradio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 for your chance to win $1,000. You get a call from a number you don't recognize after 12:30. Pick it up. It could be us telling you won $1,000. Again, the 5K a day bonus blitz keyword is SPA. S-P-A. Good luck.
The summer heat will make that crack in your wall expand. You have foundation problems. Dave Baker here. AquaGuard Foundation Solutions will find and fix your issues with a customized plan. Get your free evaluation at aquaguard.net.
AquaGuard. 365 days of the year. Just call us up. We'll be right there. Service guaranteed. When it's too hot to wait. Call 678-SHOEMADE.
Eric Erickson for Hip Nation with a question for small business owners. What would you do if, no strings attached, I handed you $50 or $80 or $100,000 in extra cash flow each year? Give your employees a raise? Pay off debt? Put it in your own pocket? If you're attracted to the idea of an infusion of newfound cash, drop your expensive health insurance and give Hip Nation a call. Hip Nation can save you an impactful amount of money and improve the quality of healthcare for your employees. A 13-person company switched to Hip Nation and saved $80,000. and then use the windfall to buy a new air conditioning system for their warehouse. So I'm going to ask you again, what would you do if I gave you $50, $80, or even $100,000? Go to HipNation.com. You'll find out the savings are real. Then start putting money you save on health insurance back into your business or even into your pocket. HipNation.com. That's HipNation.com. The call's free. Your savings are life-changing.
Did you know that eating healthier and more delicious food is not only good for you, but affordable as well? Hi, it's Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. At the Bread Becker store in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real, delicious bread loaded with fiber and nutrients from real whole grains. A healthy, delicious, and affordable solution for your family. Eating real bread will satisfy your hunger and greatly reduce the amount of food you need to eat. Plus, your improved health from eating real bread may even reduce the need for frequent doctor visits. That's what Real Bread did for our family. 2 doctor visits with 9 kids in 25 years. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of whole grains and real bread. So if you're struggling with bowel issues, high cholesterol, weight gain, warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, take the first steps to a healthier, more affordable life. Visit onlyrealbread.com. The Bread Beckers, onlyrealbread.com.
Hey, are you strapped in yet? Seatbelt buckled? It's going to be a wild ride, and we're all on the roller coaster of this election. Less than 60 days to go, thank goodness. We're in the home stretch. Are you in the home stretch towards retirement? You might be white-knuckling it more than anybody else. It's Eric Erickson here. If you're over 50, have $250,000 or more saved for retirement, I'm doing a special live event with my friend and weekly Fox business guest, David Nicholas of Nicholas Wealth Management, on Thursday, October 3rd at 6 p.m. at the Foxglove in Marietta. It's open to the public if you've saved $250,000 or more for retirement, but seating is very limited. You can bring a spouse, bring a friend. We're going to discuss hot topics surrounding the November election and how the economy and your retirement could be impacted. Food and a cash bar are going to be provided by Carriage House Catering. Again, it's registration-only event with limited seating. Call 404-890-5606 or go to nicholaswealth.com to register today. Again, it's me, Eric Erickson, my friend David Nicholas, live on Thursday, October 3rd at 6 p.m. at the Foxglove in Marietta for a free event talking about the markets and the election. Call 404-890-5606 or go to nicholaswealth.com to attend this free event while seating lasts.
This is an educational program only. Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is for informational purposes only and will not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and particular needs of any person who listens to this show. This is a paid advertisement.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Get the podcast, live stream, email, and social media links by texting Eric to 33777 now.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. I hope you're doing well. The phone number is 877-973-7425 should you wish to be on the program. Kamala Harris bought spices in Philadelphia. It's become a huge story in light of her taking no substantive policy positions. This is actually the headline from the Associated Press. Harris turns to her favorite foods in effort to show a more private side and connect with voters. It is known that Harris is a foodie and likes to cook. In fact, she had just made a pancakes and bacon breakfast for her nieces, 6- and 8-year-old daughters on the July morning when Biden called with the news he was dropping out of the race. Wow. An entire story about Harris's food choices because they can't talk about any of her public policy positions. And by the way, no one's able to verify that she actually worked at a McDonald's. But, you know, I want to read you a tweet from Pinsey Spices that she thanked them for her spices that she bought the other day that kicked off the stories about her cooking. This is a tweet from Pinsey Spices founder, or a message from Pinsey Spices founder last year. Quote, "Find a way to send the Jewish people in your life some sort of hug in this time of Hanukkah. Text them a photo of a couple sleeping bags up in your attic with the message, you'll always have a place for them. Yes, that's where Kamala bought her spices she was so happy about. Wow. Now, I want you to buy your computers from Vision Computers. You'll really actually be happy with them. Not only do they save you money, they build you a better machine than you're going to get at the one-size-fits-all big box store, and you get their 5-star customer service included with it, where you get a special phone number. If you ever have a question, not just a problem, but a question about how do I do something on this machine, hold time's less than 15 seconds, and you get the answer. You go to visioncomputers.com or 404-COMPUTE, and you call them. You get that computer built with them, and then you get their award-winning customer service. Now, here's the thing as well. Let's say you need their customer service because your employees are not productive because they got computer problems, and you can't afford the in-house IT guy. For $179 a year per computer, Vision Computers can take over your IT support. So your employees get that same phone number where they wait less than 15 seconds to get an answer from someone who knows what they're doing. So your employees are productive about their jobs, and Vision's productive with your computers. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. Give them a call today. Tell them I sent you. You can save even more money. 404-COMPUTE. Any one of you nationwide. 404-COMPUTE.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. We have an update on a story that was breaking during Atlanta's morning news. 2 bodies have been discovered inside a home on Cohasset Lane in Panthersville. DeKalb Fire Captain Jason Daniels telling WSB it was a huge blaze this morning, the roof even collapsing.
And during the course of that fire, we experienced a partial collapse of the structure, which made it difficult, to say the least, to extinguish the fire.
That fire broke out around 1:30 this morning. When daylight broke, they went back to investigate the fire. That's when they found the 2 people inside. No names have been released, no word on a cause. It's going to be mostly sunny and 85 this afternoon, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Kensington Palace has just now released a video within the hour providing an update on the Princess of Wales, who over the last couple of months has undergone treatment for cancer. In the video, Princess Kate provides the update.
Doing what I can to stay cancer-free is now my focus. Although I have finished chemotherapy, my path to healing and full recovery is long.
Now she adds that she will return to light duty as a working royal. A convicted felon who shot at a Cartersville police officer has been sentenced to more than 18 years in federal prison. 46-year-old Jose Rivera pleaded guilty to charges of possession of a stolen firearm and possession of a firearm as a convicted felon. The incident took place almost 2 years ago after Rivera stole a gun and threatened a customer at a Circle K. When officers arrived, he fired at an officer who returned fire. Rivera was shot in the leg and foot and then taken into custody. And Big Lots has filed for bankruptcy. The company says high inflation and interest rates have hurt its business, with people buying fewer home and seasonal products, 2 of the categories that the chain depends on for much of its sales. A private equity firm is going to buy Big Lots with some 1,400 stores in 48 states. Big Lots will close stores. It's unclear, though, how many or which ones in Georgia may be closing. It's 12:32.
Frankly, I was a little surprised when the owner of FGA Roofing said, "We love doing repairs." Hey, this is Scott Slade. Most roofing companies refrain from repairs for lack of profitability. But FGA Roofing feels repair work is a great way to show FGA's quality, craftsmanship, and honesty to customers with older roofs. So whether you need a new roof or just a repair, or you'd like to upgrade your exterior with new designer architectural shingles, I recommend FGA Roofing. They did a great job for me. Go to firstgaroof.com. That's firstgaroof.com.
Hello, this is Brant Frost, founder and president of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on this station. For over 30 years, First Liberty has helped hundreds of small businesses grow by saying yes when the big banks say no. On Wall Street, opportunities to earn big returns are everywhere, but for Main Street investors, those opportunities are often hard to find. Until now. Our First Liberty notes are now open to qualified Main Street investors paying interest rates of 8 to 13% while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here in Georgia. With a few basic qualifications and with as little as $25,000, qualified Main Street investors just like you can earn an 8 to 13% interest rate. If this is you, we'd love to hear from you. Go to firstlibertyga.com and consider joining our First Liberty family today. That's firstlibertyga.com, firstlibertyga.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
You've got car trouble, but your mechanic won't open the hood? That's insane. You've got bugs in your house and your pest control company won't come inside the house anymore? That's ridiculous. It's the bugs inside your house that you want gone. Dave Baker here from my bug and critter company, Breda Pest Management. They protect the inside and outside of your home. Get started at BREDAPest.com.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Motorcycle riders like you are a different breed. You don't just ride your bike, you're obsessed. So if someone causes you to lay your bike down, you need a different kind of attorney, one that understands bikers and their rights. Eric Von Hessler here for my friends at Steel Horse Law, the Stein and Karen Law Group, motorcycle injury lawyers who ride. You can trust them on the road and in the courtroom. Steel Horse Law can help you get back on your feet, medical bills paid, and your case resolved. Trust is everything and results matter. Free case evaluation at steelhorselaw.com.
Veronica Harrell has a look at the roads.
And right now, dealing with delays as you travel over on 285 southbound, the inner loop around Covington Highway. Exit 44 right now, you got a crash taking out a left lane. Getting word of a stalled out motorhome. It's over on 285 eastbound, the inner loop ramp to I-85 north over in Spaghetti Junction. It's one of those wide loads. And then traveling elsewhere over on Spur 14 eastbound, the ramp to 285 northbound. Right now, that ramp is completely shut down because of an overturned tractor trailer that was carrying metal piping. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly sunny today, high 85.
We'll have more news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, happy to have you. We should probably talk about the debate. One of the things that rich, highly educated white people like is the idea of Kamala Harris and Pete Buttigieg running as a ticket. My gosh, the number of highly educated white people when Joe Biden dropped out who are like, oh, it should be Harris Buttigieg. In addition to, I don't think the country is actually ready for a black female presidential candidate and a gay white man running together. That's just probably a little bit too much progress for most Americans to handle at one time, if we're really honest about it. I also happen to know for a fact, behind the scenes, Kamala Harris and Pete Buttigieg do not like each other. They do not like each other, going back to their time running against each other in 2019. And so I thought it was very funny that Pete Buttigieg, who decided to play the role of good surrogate for the campaign, kind of undermined Kamala Harris this weekend. And it hasn't gotten a lot of attention, but I think it's very funny. But let me set the stage for you first. First, this is the conversation on ABC News. Just so you understand, I left a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor today in terms of audio and video because so much of it is repetitious, but I want you to hear this conversation on ABC News from this weekend with Martha Raddatz talking about the campaign state of play for the debate.
And how, Mary, so obviously the Harris team has studied that debate and the other debates. Bring us inside the kind of prep they're doing.
Well, they are taking this very, very seriously, taking a very different, in fact, basically the opposite approach to Donald Trump. She is hunkered down in Pittsburgh. She is studying up. She is doing these mock debates. They've erected a stage. They're doing the full TV lighting. They have a lot of actually the people who prepped Hillary Clinton for that debate now involved in this. Clinton's former aide Philippe Reines is playing Donald Trump, and he goes full method actor, really inhabiting the role. And they are quick to note that, yes, Kamala Harris is an experienced debater, but this is different because, of course, Trump has a lot of experience at this. This is the first time she's faced off with Trump. The first time she's done a presidential debate. Actually, the first time she will actually come face-to-face with Trump. They have never met, in part, of course, because Donald Trump did not participate in the peaceful transfer of power, of course, during the last election. So This is a lot of new territory for her. The goal that the campaign has, of course, is for her to continue to define herself, do that before Trump can do that for her, and then to pivot and go on the attack. They are very concerned about that Trump amnesia, as they describe it, that voters have sort of forgotten some of the chaos of the Trump years. She wants to highlight what she believes is his failed record and then attack. And look, Kamala Harris is someone who knows how to land a punch, and she punches hard, but she has to pick those moments. She's also someone who we know rehearses those attack lines, workshops those attack lines.
But sometimes they appear rehearsed. Sometimes
exactly.
they appear
it's a
rehearsed.
careful balance that she has to achieve.
Now, first of all, could you tell that was a reporter, or did you think it was a Harris spokesperson? That was supposedly a reporter who sure does sound all giddy about Kamala Harris debating Donald Trump, but also lowering the expectations a little bit. She's never been on a debate stage like this. She's never been in the room with Donald Trump. She hasn't had as many debates as Donald Trump. And this is the talking point from Democrats across the board with this coming debate is that, well, she's never had a debate like this. Donald Trump's debated more than any other presidential candidate. This is new for her. This is new territory for her. We shouldn't expect much from Kamala Harris because Donald Trump, even with the microphones cut, is going to talk over her. Kamala Harris is not good at debates. She's great at being a prosecutor. This format is terrible for her. So if she just gets by, she'll have won the debate. These are the sorts of messages Democrats are screaming about on television, setting the debate as low as possible for Kamala Harris. And then comes our boy Pete Buttigieg.
She's somebody who is extremely smart about getting to the core of an issue. That's what made her so effective as a DA, as a prosecutor, then as Attorney General, and of course as Vice President. And one of the things I remember from those debate preparations when I was involved supporting her team 4 years ago was anytime some issue area or topic came up, we were kicking around statistics, ideas, arguments. She'd always take it back to the question of, okay, how is this going to affect somebody at home? And I think that's especially important right now with some of the issues at stake right now.
Oh, yes. Yes, she's a great debater. She brings it back. She gets to the core of the problem. She relates it to people. Good old Pete setting expectations for Kamala Harris so he can run in 4 years. Wow. Yeah, they don't care for each other. Y'all, it's not a coincidence in the press over the last 3 years that if a negative story came out on Pete Buttigieg, a negative story about Kamala Harris was shortly to follow. Or if a negative story about Kamala Harris came out, a negative story about Buttigieg was soon to follow. And now he's out on the campaign trail, as everybody's trying to lower expectations for Kamala Harris. Well, she's never really debated at this level. This is the biggest debate stage she's ever been. She's never been in the room with Donald Trump. She doesn't know what it's like with Donald Trump. Oh, she gets right to the core of the problem. She always relates it to the middle class. She's gonna do great. Good job, Pete. Good job, Pete. Here's the thing. The expectations games like these endorsements, I think, are somewhat silly. Endorsements really don't matter that much. The Cheneys endorsing Kamala Harris really doesn't matter that much. Robert Kennedy Jr. endorsing Donald Trump might persuade 12 people to vote for Donald Trump. It really doesn't matter that much. Endorsements don't matter. If Taylor Swift comes out tomorrow and endorses Kamala Harris, it's not actually going to matter that much. More people will scream about it on the right than will actually be persuaded to vote for Kamala Harris because Taylor Swift says so. Not that that's going to happen. I don't know if you saw, by the way, but progressives are really upset that Taylor Swift was seen hugging Brittany Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes' wife, at the Kansas City football game because, Mahomes said she's voting for Donald Trump, or she retweeted something of Donald Trump's favorably. Sounds like she's a Trump supporter. How dare Taylor Swift hug her? People just can't be friends. Y'all should see the number of people who've already emailed me in the last 10 minutes for saying I wasn't going to say anything bad about Dick Cheney, that I liked the guy even if I disagreed with him. Good Lord, you're not allowed to have friends on the other side. If you disagree with them, you can't say nice things about people anymore. It's the world we live in. but it's not going to impact anything. And I don't think the pre-gaming of the debate or the post-gaming of the debate is going to matter that much either. Look, this is one of the things that people do for these debates. They set expectations. And the way that they set the expectations is these conversations in the press, and they are designed to set the expectations not for you. They talk about it as if the expectations are being set for you. That's not true at all. The expectations are being set for the reporters who will cover the debate on how they will cover the debate. So, for example, when all the talking heads go on television and say, well, actually, Kamala Harris has never debated at this level before. She's never been on a presidential debate stage before, blah, 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 blah. That's not for you and me. That's to signal to the reporters after she screws up the debate how to handle it for her. So once Kamala Harris has screwed up the debate, it'll be, well, this was her very first debate, and this is the only debate, and she had the opportunity, and I wonder if the American people will remember she's never had this debate before, so maybe we should have another debate. Donald Trump, of course, is going to wing it. Donald Trump does not do formal debate prep, never has done real formal debate prep, and I don't know. He's talked to Tulsi Gabbard, apparently, but it's not going to be significant. But at the same time, we now also know why Kamala Harris tried to get the microphones turned on. Turns out the microphones were for Kamala Harris, not for Donald Trump. You see, remember, so first they harassed Donald Trump saying that, why are you going to back out of the debate? And Donald Trump's like, I agreed to debate Joe Biden, not Kamala Harris. And they bully Donald Trump. He says, fine, we'll do the debate. And once Donald Trump gets to the debate, Kamala Harris says, wait a second, I don't want the microphones to be off. I want the microphones to be on the whole time. And Trump's like, no, these were the rules that we agreed to. Kamala Harris is like, well, I didn't agree to them. Joe Biden did. Well, I didn't agree to debate you. I agreed to vote Joe Biden. So she's had to cave. The rules for this debate tomorrow are straightforward. There will be no microphones turned on for you when the other person's talking, and there will be no crowd. There will be no notes, and there will be no checking in with staff during the 2 breaks. There are only 2 breaks. Most people, when Kamala Harris started saying she wanted the microphones to be turned on, the interpretation was this. She wanted the microphones to be turned on so Donald Trump would lack self-control and talk over her and try to bully her and make himself look bad. Turns out that is not why she wanted the microphones on at all. This is from Politico. Kamala Harris had planned to object, fact-check, and directly question Donald Trump while he was speaking during their debate next week. This is a report that came out the other day. But now, the rules just finalized to mute the candidates when their opponent speaks. Campaign officials said Harris advisors are scrambling to rewrite their playbook. Harris and her team wanted unmuted microphones so that the vice president could lean on her prosecutorial background, confronting the former president in the same way she laced into some of Trump's Supreme Court nominees and cabinet members during Senate hearings. Instead, 4 Harris campaign officials argued she will be handcuffed by the rules which were negotiated by President Joe Biden's team earlier this summer. Trump's worst moments in the debates are when he gets upset and snaps, says an aide to Harris. And they have neutered that. Some Democrats privately dismissed the Harris campaign's frustration as largely gamesmanship and expectation setting around Tuesday's debate in Philadelphia. But others say the rules change and her limited experience in national general election debates and interviews since becoming the party's nominee could affect Harris's debate performance. I will call you back to the report from the New York Times on February of 2023. The painful reality for Harris is that dozens of Democrats in the White House, Capitol Hill, and around the nation said she has not risen to the challenge of proving herself as a future leader of the party, much less the country. That's from 2023. Can't teach an old dog new tricks. We'll see just how much she's able to pull this off. The fact that her campaign thought they would be able to bully ABC News into changing the microphone rules to her advantage is probably the tell that this is a campaign already in over its head. that they thought they could get away with that, having the rules previously been agreed to. That tells me that the Harris campaign isn't as ready for prime time as they would have us all believe, which is confirmed by her refusal to do any substantive interviews and instead rely on cooking and joy, the joy of cooking, to be her campaign theme. Now, we got interest rates that may be cut here shortly by the Fed. We don't know, but we've got all sorts of banking turmoil. The yield curve has uninverted, which tends to be a sign of an imminent downturn in the economy. Swiss America has been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years, and they've been warning people about a secret war on cash for some time. If you're interested in safeguarding your hard-earned cash from the secret war on cash, you need their report. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. Their report takes less than 15 minutes to read. Can help you save your retirement and finances. Get your free report by calling or texting 800-289-2646. The All Out War on Cash includes digital forms of currency as well. Here's all you need to know is you text my name or call Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to the number 800-289-2646. Just text my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 800-289-2646. You can also go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric, SwissAmerica.com/ERICK, or call or text my name, Eric, to 800-289-2646. Get Swiss America's report, Secret War on Cash, completely for free. Message and data rates may apply.
When the world seems crazy, he'll keep you sane. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
1249, the Coolray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Well, right now, dealing with a crash over in Spaghetti Junction. It looks like a truck was carrying a house and unfortunately got stuck or hit the wall. So right now, 285 eastbound, that inner loop ramp to 85 northbound, you got the right lane taken out, really jamming up your ride trying to get into Spaghetti Junction. Staying on 285, got a crash 285 southbound, the inner loop at Covington Highway, exit 43, over in a right lane, and something now going on 285 northbound, the outer loop at Glenwood Road. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
online,
on the app,
where you get your news,
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
That's amazing.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
This is Dawn in Brazelton, and I just won $1,000 from WSB.
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 2.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz
on 95.5 WSB.
It's Eric. I don't know about y'all, but life happens in our kitchen. It's where we have our memories, our family time, our laughs. Well, you don't want a lot of downtime, but you may want to renovate your kitchen. You want one of those $1 million kitchen looks and get it at the fraction of the cost with Frugal Kitchens. They know that you've got plans for your kitchen, and they want to help you. And here's why I love them. They can have you cooking in 5 days from the start of construction and get you 18 months no-interest financing. FrugalKitchens.com. That's where you want to check them out. FrugalKitchens.com.
Get pre-approved for a great rate on your auto loan at Coosa Valley Credit Union. Act now for as low as 5.24% or save money by refinancing your current auto loan. Come see us at a Coosa Valley Credit Union branch near you.
Equal Opportunity Lender.
The Scott Antique Markets is back at the Atlanta Expo Center, featuring hundreds of vendors with collectibles and merchandise from all over the world. We're on both sides of I-285 exit 55 on Jonesboro Road. Visit ScottAntiqueMarket.com for more information.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman of the Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, whether we want to be or not, we are all wrapped up with this presidential election, but what, if any, effect should that have on our current and future financial planning?
You got to go back to your plan. Your plan is very individualized. We will create something around what works for you and your family and your needs, and we'll cover and we'll check the boxes on the Democrats, the Republicans, the tax changes, Social Security impact, etc. We are watching all of those metrics and those topics extremely close so that you don't have to. So tamp down your political belief and let us just present to you a full financial plan. And yes, for the next 4 years, 8 years, 20 years of your life, we're going to have to move around as tax brackets change, as Social Security payments may be impacted. Nobody has pensions anymore, so as pensions kind of wane and fall away, we need something to replace them. But there are some things that we certainly pay attention to on the political landscape, but that political landscape is one piece of many. So there are many metrics we're looking at. The election's a heated topic and very interesting to talk about, but it has to have its proper place. It does not take front and center in our decisions to invest or our plans. That's having a vision for if this goes this way or this way, we need to be prepared for either scenario. That's where the Replace My Paycheck Challenge and having a deep income discussion with our advisory team could serve everybody very well.
Go ahead. Take the Replace My Paycheck Challenge today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Greetings and welcome. This hour of the program brought to you by First Liberty Building and Loan. Wherever you are nationwide, if you're in charge of the finances for a business, you're building a building or you need a heavy equipment loan, they can make it happen. FirstLibertyGA.com. Reach out to them. Spend 10 minutes with them. See if they're fit for you. See if you're fit for them. FirstLibertyGA.com. Now, let me take Mitchell's phone call here. Mitchell, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for taking my call there.
Sure.
So I just wanted your opinion on something. So it seems like to me if someone were in the position that Kamala Harris was in, and I guess the things that she promises that she's going to do on her commercials, the tax cuts of billionaires paying their fair shares and all of that, would she not be in a position to go ahead and have the current administration to pull the trigger on all that stuff to prove to the American people that she can actually do this stuff? Or why wouldn't she go ahead? It seems like the best campaign tool ever to actually show us before the election how good it's going to be should she were elected.
Oh, look, I think she should, but I don't think she's going to. In fact, so Ross Douthat has a piece in the New York Times. He and David Brooks wrote competing pieces. David Brooks took the position of here's why Donald Trump won. And so Ross Douthat has taken the here's why Kamala Harris won. And Ross Douthat makes the point that Harris, by refusing to take positions, actually allows the Democratic Party to unite along with a lot of independents because nobody's got to worry over how woke she's going to be. You can just hate Donald Trump and you don't have to worry about fighting over positions. So I actually don't think that Harris wants to talk about anything she has or has not done. And I think most members of the media don't actually want to explore it with her. And the reason I say that is because if the members of the media explore what Kamala Harris has or has not done with her, it exposes her failures of what she could have done and chose not to do. And they don't want to do that because that might help Donald Trump. So instead, they've got to talk about her cooking and her recipes and her joy. Her joy. They really could call her entire campaign The Joy of Cooking. Now, there would be a copyright issue there, certainly with the cookbook, but that's essentially it. They want to talk about her cooking when they talk about her joy. They don't want to talk about the border. They don't want to talk about inflation. They don't want to talk about crime. They don't want to talk about the migrants eating the ducks and the geese. Have y'all heard about this in Ohio? Now, there's been some serious misrepresentations from people on the right we'll get into about people eating cats and stuff. That's not true. But, yeah, actually, there are migrants from Haiti in this town in Ohio that are, like, chopping off the heads of ducks in the local parks to cook them. Can they make a good Peking duck? Do the Haitians know how to make a Peking? Because I'd be down with that, but I bet these ducks would be gamey tasting. Nonetheless, I digress. It's a true story, but also with some misrepresentation we'll get into. But when we come back, I want to talk about the SAVE Act. My buddy Chip Roy, member of Congress, is proposing the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act would require that the states affirmatively check the citizenship status of those registering to vote in federal elections. And Democrats are opposed to it. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, intends to make it his hill to die on for the continuing resolution. The Democrats want a clean continuing resolution. Senate Republicans want a clean continuing resolution. I actually do think Republicans need to fight like hell on this. I want to explain the actual intricacies of the law to you because it's a little more complicated than you might think given the federal nature of our elections. So when we come back, stick around. I want to explain to you what the SAVE Act does and why I think Republicans should be willing to have a government shutdown if the Democrats don't want to support it. Because frankly, I think Republicans can win the messaging on this government shutdown should it come about because of the SAVE Act. Because who on earth could oppose the idea, particularly when we know there's actually documentary proof illegal aliens have attempted to vote in federal elections? They say it's rare. Rare means it has happened. I'll give you the facts when we come back.
Sneezing, coughing, stuffy nose, runny nose, postnasal drip, interrupted sleeping. I was groggy at the end of the day.
Allergies and sinus congestion were making Jana miserable. Then, a friend recommended Navage. Navage provides immediate drug-free congestion relief, flushing your nasal passages with refreshing saline and sucking out mucus, germs, and other airborne irritants. Navage helps you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel your best right away.
Navage gave me instant relief. I didn't have to wait 30 minutes. I didn't have to wait an hour, 90 minutes. I didn't have to wait a minute. I ran the rinse and I felt better.
Stop suffering from congestion and start breathing and feeling your best again with Navage. Navage.
I've had people ask me how I find relief, and I tell them Navage immediately. This thing is amazing.
Navage is available at Navage.com or at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Hip Nation. DeKalb County firefighters find 2 bodies inside a burned-out home in Panthersville.
The overnight fire on Cohasset Lane was a giant blaze called in by neighbors who heard popping sounds and saw flames. When fire investigators returned to the site during daylight, they discovered 2 bodies inside the rubble. Investigators will work to determine the identities of the 2 and the cause of the fire, which will take some time, according to DeKalb Fire Captain Jason Daniels.
Very difficult to find. So this one in particular, with the amount of fire and damage that it caused.
Neighbors told investigators they don't really know the occupants of the house. Lisa Nicholas, 95.5 WSB.
All right, your weather for today, it's going to be mostly sunny and nice. Afternoon highs around 85, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. She'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up in just a matter of minutes. Now to Barrow County. All schools except Appalachia High returning to class tomorrow. That's less than a week after that mass shooting at the high school. Superintendent Dr. Dallas LaDuff says that the district is taking steps to ensure safety.
You could expect to see additional security staff provided by the Barrow County Sheriff's Office and the Georgia State Patrol at our schools.
And Appalachia students are being allowed to go back to the school today to collect their belongings. It's unclear when Appalachia High will return to class. A manhunt underway right now for a person wanted for opening fire on motorists along I-75 in Kentucky. Derek Dennis is covering the story.
As law enforcement continues tracking suspect Joseph Couch in the woods off I-75 in London, Kentucky, investigators have retraced his steps before the shootings. Sources tell ABC News the 32-year-old Couch had some kind of domestic dispute Saturday morning, bought a gun at a local gun store, and got into a road rage incident that escalated from there. They also say he had an arrest in 2023 and was charged with making terroristic threats. And with him still on the run, multiple Kentucky school districts have canceled classes as a precaution.
Kate, the Princess of Wales, is done with her chemotherapy treatment. She made the announcement in a video message today.
Although I have finished chemotherapy, my path to healing and full recovery is long, and I must continue to take each day as it comes.
In March, Princess Kate revealed that she had been diagnosed with an unspecified form of cancer. She said that the last 9 months have been incredibly tough for her family. She added that she is looking forward to being back at work and said that she will take on a few more public engagements in the coming months when she can. As we take a look at the markets, the Dow right now is up 631 points at 40,976. So the Dow is up more than 1.5%. NASDAQ's up more than 1%, and so is the S&P. It's 102.
How would you like to have dinner with Eric Erickson just 19 days before the election? Well, you can. This is Tom Gray with This Stuff Matters, and we are hosting a live dinner event with Eric on Thursday night, October 17th at the Governor's Gun Club in Kennesaw. The event is from 7 to 9 o'clock p.m., and you can get your tickets or table sponsorships at our website, thisstuffmatters.net. This is Tom Gray, and This Stuff Matters.
ThisStuffMatters.net.
Dave Baker here for Air Quality Systems. If you haven't had your heating and air ducts cleaned in the last 5 years, you need Air Quality Systems. They'll come to your house and clean all that gunk out of your ductwork. That's all they do. They won't wash your siding. They won't clean your carpet. They'll just professionally clean your ducts to the same standards using the same process that they use to clean at UGA, at Children's Healthcare, and at other major hospitals in the metro area. You'll get upfront, all-in pricing over the phone, and your ducts will be clean. Simply go to airqualitysystems.com and breathe easy.
Hey, it's Eric Erickson. I'm here with my friend, Dr. Brian Hill, owner and founder of Hip Nation. Tell me a recent experience about a company where you saw real employee savings.
We had an electricians company that decided to look into Hip Nation. Heard us on the radio, actually heard your voice, Eric. They reached out. We ran their plan. They compared to our solution at Hip Nation. For their 25 employees, they saved $114,000 in year one. And that's just the first year. That $114,000 is going to roll over year after year.
Brian, if I'm a small business owner looking at saving money and I'm looking at Hip Nation, what would you tell me is the compelling reason to check out Hip Nation?
Our goal is to help an employer save a significant amount of money and to make sure that their employees get great access to great health care. We see businesses as small as 5 employees saving as much as $50,000 by switching to us. We had a flooring company that just recently switched and put $50,000 back into their bottom line.
Go to hipnation.com to get a healthcare quote for your business today. The call's free. The savings are life-changing. That's hipnation.com.
Heavy rain and poor drainage can cause large cracks in your driveway, so call American Crawl Space Solutions. Their work is guaranteed, and they're the best value for concrete repairs.
American Crawl Space Solutions. Foundations too.
Coming up from the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, a Delta classical concert featuring music director Natalie Stutzman conducting Mahler's Symphony No. 1 on September 19th and 21st at Symphony Hall. Details at aso.org.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Veronica Harrell's in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
And issuing a travel advisory, got a crash blocking the right lane of the 285 eastbound inner loop ramp to 85 northbound. Avoid all of that. Think about maybe using Beaufort Highway. Elsewhere, a crash remains over in the right lane, 285 southbound at Covington Highway, exit 43. It is clearing, but now you're dealing with a new delay, some new trouble, 285 northbound, the outer loop over at Glenwood Road, exit 44, at least one lane blocked there. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Mostly sunny today, high 85. Clear and cool for tonight as temperatures fall to the upper 50s to low 60s. Tomorrow, sunshine and heating up to a high of 87. Mostly cloudy and breezy on Wednesday, high 84.
We'll have more news at 1:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. Glad to have you with me. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I am happy to have you. As always, text ARMY to 33777, and you can put your contact info in, name, zip code, email address. So as we start going around the country, we'll be able to send you an email and let you know. We are planning our event in Tulsa, Oklahoma for November 7th. Details will be forthcoming in a week or so. For those of you out at listening on KRMG who want to come out. Now, or those of you over in Oklahoma City, by the way, want to drive over to Tulsa, you're more than welcome to come as well. We will make it happen. I want to talk about the SAVE Act. My buddy Chip Roy, a good friend of mine, a great member of Congress, he has authored the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act stands for Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. And Chip Roy and Republicans in the House of Representatives want to tie the SAVE Act to the continuing resolution that must be passed this month to avoid a government shutdown. And the talking point from Democrats is that, well, it's already illegal for illegal aliens and non-citizens to vote in American elections. What the SAVE Act does is it requires states to take affirmative action to make sure non-citizens are not registering to vote. Some states already have that rule. So I live in Georgia, and there's a video that's been circulating of an apartment complex in Norcross, Georgia, where people were going in and getting illegal aliens, not just legal aliens, but illegal aliens to register to vote. It doesn't matter in Georgia, and it freaked people out. I've had to tell them Georgia is a state that requires affirmative confirmation of citizenship before someone can vote. When Brian Kemp, the current governor, was Secretary of State, Georgia passed a law saying that the Secretary of State has to confirm citizenship. The Obama administration refused to cooperate. So Brian Kemp, the then Secretary of State, sued in federal court and got a consent decree whereby the federal government now has to give Georgia access to its database of citizenship. So, for example, in 2022, 1,634 non-citizens in Georgia filled out voter registration forms, and they were rejected because they were not citizens. So because it's an automatic process in Georgia, here's what happens. When you fill out your voter registration form, the Secretary of State's office processes it, and it's run by a Department of Homeland Security database. If it comes back with citizenship, you're registered to vote. If it comes back as non-citizen, your voter registration is rejected. If it comes back as inconclusive, you're notified and you got to provide proof of citizenship to be able to vote. But not every state does that. Illegal immigration is becoming a huge problem, crime and otherwise. In fact, Chip was on with Harris Faulkner on Fox News this morning. I want to play you this conversation. It's not directly about the SAVE Act, but it is implicit in what's going on here. This is Congressman Chip Roy talking to Harris Faulkner on Fox just a little while ago.
You know, look, this is one of those things people say we're trying to exploit for political reasons. The fact is we have a choice to make as a country. Are we going to live in a safe country, or are we going to allow our country to become basically a third world dangerous place? And so what we're seeing right now, just 30 miles from right here, I'm in the Capitol building, out in Manassas, you have an individual who pulled a teenage girl into a car posing as a law enforcement officer, and then he abducted her, right? This is happening in real time across this country. This man was from Peru. He was released in December by this administration into the United States purposefully. This isn't about just open borders. That's almost a misnomer now. This administration is purposely flying people into the United States or taking people from the border and releasing them into the United States, knowing full well that they are dangerous individuals. I was in Aurora, Colorado on Thursday and Friday. I met with the woman who put the video cameras on her door. They weren't apartment videos. This was a woman who needed to secure her own home in the apartment, and she put videos up, and she went out and she called the police. They testified on the ground that they didn't have any manager in the apartment complex. You got radical Democrats, including the governor of Colorado and my colleague Jason Crow, who want to deny that they in fact took over the apartment complex. You had 4 individuals who were arrested. They were released into Texas, into the United States. You had a Peruvian who was released, caught in Buffalo in July, is accused of 23 murders in Peru, is now finally in ICE custody. Tomorrow in the Judiciary Committee, we're going to have Jocelyn Nungare's mom testifying. We're going to have the mom of Kayla Hamilton, who is another woman who was killed in the same county as Rachel Marin. I think we're going to have Rachel Marin's mom. We're going to try to highlight to the American people that they are in danger. And
now, this is how this is relevant to the SAVE Act. The Democrats say this is all overblown and it's not happening. The governor of Colorado, for example, said that these illegal immigrants from Venezuela had not taken over that apartment complex. The local mayor says, oh, yes, they have. Member of city council says, yes, they have. The people who live in the apartment complex say, yes, they have. But the governor comes out and says, no, that's not true. And so the media says, well, the governor says it's not true. How can we believe these other people? They might be Trump supporters. You're not allowed to believe your eyes. It's the same damn thing they did with Joe Biden. where everybody could look at Joe Biden and say there's clearly something wrong here, and the media would say there's nothing wrong with Joe Biden, you Trump-supporting bigot. Look, he's perfectly fine. He just wandered off stage the way he was supposed to. They're doing the same thing with the election now, as Republicans amp up efforts to tie the SAVE Act to it. I want to read for you the headline at the Associated Press. Non-citizen voting isn't an issue in federal elections, regardless of conspiracy theories. Here's why. And then it includes this paragraph debunking the entire thing, saying that non-citizen voting isn't a problem. It does not happen. Nobody should worry about this. They include this, quote, to be clear, there have been cases of non-citizens casting ballots, but they are extremely rare. Those who have looked into these cases say they often involve legal immigrants who mistakenly believe they have the right to vote. So in other words, it is happening. It is actually happening. Here's what the data says, according to U.S. News & World Report. In 2016, North Carolina audited its election and found 41 legal immigrants had cast ballots despite not yet being citizens. Now, there were 4.8 million votes cast. Those 41 legal immigrants who cast votes did not affect the election, but their votes got counted. A recent study in Arizona found that less than 1% of non-citizens in the state attempted to register, and that even in those instances, the vast majority were believed to be mistakes. The Brennan Center for Justice and Nonpartisan Law and Policy Institute, based in the nation's capital, surveyed 44 election officials located in some of the most populated and immigrant-heavy areas after 2016 and found 30 incidents out of 23.5 million votes cast. So what you're saying is that it happens. Those 30 should not have happened. The media looks at this and says those 30 were insignificant, therefore this isn't a problem. I look at it and say 30 people who should not have cast votes in this country cast votes. And this is the way the media spins it. Here's National Public Radio. The GOP is making false claims about non-citizen voting. It's affecting real voters. William Pritchett is an Alabama voter who got thrown off the rolls. He was one of 3,200 people thrown off the rolls. Alabama said he wasn't a citizen. Yes, he is a citizen. Yes, he should have voted. It's nonsense. And he is used as the epitome of we can't clean up the voter rolls. We can't clean up the voter rolls because we might disqualify actual citizens. And yet, even in the NPR story where they're trying to say that this is a big deal, points out that, in fact, non-citizens are voting in the election. From the Heritage Foundation, in Virginia, more than 11,000 aliens were initially listed on the state's voter rolls within the past decade. In New Jersey, at least 616 known aliens voter registration system just a few years ago. Since 2021, nearly 200 aliens were initially on voter rolls in Arizona. And now what's happening? During the Biden administration, illegal aliens have flooded our border, and in a number of states in local elections, they now allow non-citizen voting. A growing number of progressive enclaves in this country are allowing non-citizens to vote in local elections, which frankly should be prohibited. But under our system of laws and our federal system, the federal government cannot prohibit that. Only the states can prohibit non-citizens voting in state elections. So here's what the SAFE Act does. The SAFE Act reiterates current federal law. Current federal law says it is illegal to vote in an election if you're not a citizen. But what the voter registration forms just tell you is that, hey, you can't do this if you're not a citizen. But there's no active enforcement mechanism to clean up the voting rolls. So this is the synopsis of the SAVE Act that Congressman Roy has authored that is before the House of Representatives that they're thinking of tying to the budget fight. The bill requires individuals to provide documentary proof of U.S. citizenship in order to register to vote in federal elections. Specifically, the bill prohibits states from accepting and processing an application to register to vote in a federal election unless the application presents documentary proof of U.S. citizenship. Right now, in many states, the only thing you have to do is sign the statement affirming you're a citizen. It doesn't matter if you are or you aren't. You sign it and say, yes, I am. You don't have to have proof. You just sign the statement. You can lie through your teeth. Further, the SAVE Act prohibits states from registering an individual to vote in a federal election unless, at the time the individual applies to register to vote, the individual provides documentary proof of U.S. citizenship and requires states establish an alternative process under which an applicant may submit other evidence to demonstrate U.S. citizenship. Each state, this is the big one, must take affirmative steps on an ongoing basis to establish that only U.S. citizens are registered to vote, which shall include establishing a program to identify individuals who are not U.S. citizens using information supplied by specified sources. That's what Georgia did on its own, and a couple of other states have done, where Georgia now is allowed to contact the Department of Homeland Security database and ping Social Security numbers for citizenship. The bill also allows for a private right of action against an election official who registers an applicant to vote in a federal election who fails to present documentary proof of U.S. citizenship. Therefore, an individual would be able to sue a board of elections for allowing non-citizens to register to vote. The bill also establishes criminal penalties for certain offenses, including registering an applicant to vote in a federal election who fails to present documentary proof of U.S. citizenship. This should be a no-brainer. And what the Democrats have decided to do with the help of the media say this isn't a problem. This isn't a problem, except in every single story from the Associated Press to National Public Radio that says this isn't a problem in federal elections, every single story admits non-citizens are voting in federal elections. It may only be a few, but then we've only gotten to a point right now in this country where Democrats are trying to register illegal aliens to vote in local elections. And some of them are going to fall through the cracks and get registered into the larger election. Mistakes happen. A government that could not stop a former president from being shot in Pennsylvania is not a government capable of blocking a wave of illegal immigrants from voting in our elections. The SAVE Act locks down the system in a way the current legislation does not. The SAVE Act is worth Republicans shutting down the government over. Put Democrats on record saying they're okay with non-citizens voting in our elections. They can't say it doesn't happen because even National Public Radio, in a report trying to say it doesn't happen, had to admit that, yes, it has happened. And because it has happened, it should be stopped. Chip Roy's legislation would stop it. If the Speaker of the House says he's going to fight for it, Republicans in the House and the Senate should be willing to risk a government shutdown on this issue to highlight the fact that, yes, in fact, non-citizens have been voting in federal elections, and that should be stopped.
When the world seems crazy, he'll keep you sane. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
121 in the Coolray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center with travel advisory dealing with this crash over on the 285 eastbound inner loop ramp to I-85 northbound. The right lane taken out. Delays already stretched back to before Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. Maybe think about using 141 Peachtree Boulevard to get you over into Norcross. This report brought to you by Batteries Plus. Power on this summer with Batteries Plus in stores and online too. You'll find batteries for your car, RV, boat, motorcycle, golf cart, and more. Power on with Batteries Plus. Visit one of their 700 plus locations today. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
online,
on the app,
where you get your news,
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
That's amazing.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
This is Dawn in Brazelton, and I just won $1,000 from WSB.
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 2.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz
on 95.5 WSB.
Hello, this is Brant Frost, founder and president of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on the station. For over 30 years, First Liberty has helped hundreds of small businesses grow by saying yes when the big banks say no. On Wall Street, opportunities to earn big returns are everywhere, but for Main Street investors, those opportunities are often hard to find. Until now. Our First Liberty notes are now open to qualified Main Street investors paying interest rates of 8 to 13% while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here in Georgia. With a few basic qualifications and with as little as $25,000, qualified Main Street investors just like you can earn an 8 to 13% interest rate. If this is you, we'd love to hear from you. Go to firstlibertyga.com and consider joining our First Liberty family today. That's firstlibertyga.com, firstlibertyga.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
If your dishwasher breaks, you can use paper plates. But if your roof is old and leaking, that needs to be dealt with immediately. Hey, it's Dave Baker for Findlay Roofing, the roof guys. They've mastered roof replacement with impeccable, high-quality work. Findlay has seen it all and replaced it all and backed it all with a free lifetime labor and materials warranty. With 0% financing available, you can take care of your roof issues now. Get your free roof analysis at FindlayRoofing.com. Roof.
365 days of the year, just call us up, we'll be right there. Service guaranteed. When it's too hot to wait, call 678-SHOEMAKE.
We've all heard it before. Buy one, get one Windows. 10% off if you call today. $500 off if you sign tonight. But are these really a special? If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Hi, this is Candace with Exovations, and have I got a tip for you. Don't fall for it. It's exhausting trying to keep up with all the fake specials being offered. And we all say the same thing. We're all licensed, we're all insured, we all have 5-star reviews. At Exovations, we want to earn your business the right way. But don't take our word for it. Let us show you why we say we are different from other contractors. To find out what it means to have an on-time, on-budget, and stress-free renovation, call me today at 770-205-2995 or online at exovations.com. That's exovations.com.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
95.5 WSB, your 2024 election station.
You can be live on Eric's show by calling 877-97-ERIC. That's 877-973-7425.
Greetings, conversationalists. It's Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be very happy to have you. As always, I gotta tell you about this tweet from Tom Elliott. I use a service to clip audio called Grabian, and it is run by a genius named Tom Elliott, who has a genius tweet. I gotta give him credit for it because he's got the receipts. How the media has been denying that there's a Venezuelan gang problem in U.S. cities, and the media has been claiming Russia's trying to help Trump in 2024. So here's the story from the Colorado Sun. The headline is Racism Fueling Claims About a Venezuelan Gang Takeover of Apartment Buildings in Aurora. Well, here's the actual statement from the National Security Council spokesperson on the Venezuelan gang, that the Biden administration is taking new actions to halt the spread of the gang, a transnational criminal organization from Venezuela involved in violent criminal acts that are moving into American cities. So, yeah, it turns out it wasn't racism. It was the Biden administration. Here's USA Today headline, Russia ramping up election meddling efforts to help Trump beat Harris, according to intelligence officials. Here's the actual report from the U.S. government, just declassified. Quote, to date, there has been no observed foreign actor seeking to interfere in the conduct of the 2024 elections. Foreign actors are increasing their election influence activities as we approach November. In particular, Russia, Iran, and China are trying by some measure to exacerbate divisions in U.S. society. But no foreign actors have been detected directly interfering in the election, contrary to media reports. Thanks to Tom Elliott for capturing all of that. Now, if you want to capture the dirt and dust floating in your air, the Eden Pure Thunderstorm can do it. I was at my beloved Barnsley Resort this weekend, and my hotel room had an Eden Pure Thunderstorm. It wasn't working because the fireplace hadn't been used, but had it, it would have wiped out the smoke odors in the room. I've used it that way before, and it's nice to see a hotel has such great equipment. You can get the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. You get 3 of them. You can save $200. You go to EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3. So you'll get 3 of them upstairs, downstairs, your basement, your travel bag, your RV, wherever you need them. And they wipe out odors. They don't just get rid of the dust and the pollen. They generate ozone, which goes into the cracks and crevices and into the furniture upholstery and wipes out the odor-causing ions, wipes them out, neutralizes them, and gets rid of those odors. It really does work. Smoke odors, dirty diaper odors, litter box odors, wet dog odors, cooking odors, you name it. Go to EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3, at EdenPureDeals.com.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. New this afternoon, less than a week after that deadly school shooting in Barrow County, we are getting word of an arrest in Gwinnett County this afternoon of a student who made a threat. Sergeant Colin Flynn with Gwinnett Police telling WSB.
Once the Gwinnett County Police Department received the threat, they were able to identify the phone number that made the actual threat, and that we're able to follow up with a 16-year-old juvenile at his house.
And it turns out it was a hoax, but he says the 16-year-old was taken into custody for felony terroristic threats and transported to a Metro Atlanta Youth Detention Center. That threat was made on Friday. Your weather for today, it's going to be mostly sunny and nice. Afternoon highs around 85, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. She'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up in a matter of minutes. Update on a story that was breaking during Atlanta's morning news. 2 bodies have been discovered now inside a home on Cohasset Lane in Panthersville. DeKalb Fire Captain Jason Daniels telling us it was a huge blaze this morning.
And during the course of that fire, we experienced a partial collapse of the structure, which made it difficult, to say the least, to extinguish the fire.
The fire broke out around 1:30 this morning. When daylight broke, they went back to investigate the blaze, and that's when they found the 2 bodies inside. No names have been released and no word on a cause. Big Lots has filed for bankruptcy. The company saying that high inflation and interest rates have hurt its business, with people buying fewer home and seasonal products, 2 of the categories that the chain depends on for much of its sales. A private equity firm will buy Big Lots, which has some 1,400 stores in 48 states, including here in Georgia. Big Lots will close some of those stores. It's unclear how many or which ones in Georgia will be closing. It's 1:32.
Hi, it's Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. Over the past 30 years, we've seen countless lives change for the better and health issues greatly improved, if not completely resolved, by customers changing their diets, starting with real bread. At the Bread Beckers store in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real, delicious bread loaded with fiber and nutrients from real whole grains. A healthy, affordable solution for your family that can change your lives. For various customers, we've seen cholesterol levels drop 85 to 100 points in just 1 month, blood sugar stabilize, anemia corrected, and hundreds of stories of warts going away. In one case, as many as 500 warts gone in just 2.5 weeks. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of whole grains and real bread. Let us help you take the first steps to better health. Visit onlyrealbread.com. The Breadbeckers, onlyrealbread.com.
If you're seeing cracks in your drywall, stucco, bricks, around doors and windows, or in your flooring, you may have a foundation problem. Doug Turnbull here. Call Atlanta Ramjack. Foundation repair is all they do. Get your free inspection. Just Google Atlanta Ramjack.
Breda has got the Bugs beat at the Baker House, and that's just the beginning. Hey, it's Dave Baker. The local folks at Breda Pest Management know my house inside and out, and they've customized a unique treatment plan that stops bugs and critters. With Breda, it's always a familiar, local person servicing my home and answering my calls. It's never an irritating, automated call center. You know, a lot of so-called local pest companies aren't even local anymore. They've been bought up by mega groups focused only on bigger profits, which means they're charging you more and taking shortcuts like not even treating the inside of your home. Breda cares and will work harder for you. They're our neighbors and they're invested in our community, and doing it better is what the Breda family does. So if your used to be local pest control company isn't local anymore, switch to Breda. Get started at BREDAPest.com.
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Hi, this is Earl Ron. New South Window lives southern weather, and our Energy Star windows and doors are designed to keep the heat out and the cool air in. Get New South proud.
Going on now. Buy more and save more on all New South products. Volume discounts up to 30% off.
Right, live team coverage of traffic and weather. Here's Veronica Harrell.
And still issuing the travel advisory, trying to get over into Spaghetti Junction with this crash. 285 eastbound, the inner loop ramp to 85 north. Right lane is blocked. Delays stretch back to Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. May want to think about using 141. And elsewhere, also another travel advisory. 85 southbound, the ramp to Winder Highway, exit 129 shut down because of some down power lines. Avoid that. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly sunny today, high 85.
It is 79 degrees in Villa Rica, 78 in Beaufort. Roswell has 76 degrees right now. More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, you can also text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777 and get the show notes, the live stream, the podcast, everything you need. So this morning on Twitter, I saw a live streamer doing a story about Haitians eating people's pets in Springfield, Ohio. And right now I see there's a live stream going on Twitter. Migrants over in Ohio town caught eating family pets. I've seen now J.D. Vance tweet about the Haitian illegal immigrants coming for people's pets in Springfield, Ohio, which happens to be one of my listener areas. I am broadcasting live right now on WHIO out of Dayton, Ohio. It covers Springfield. I got a lot of listeners in Springfield. They listen online and they listen on the radio. I can see how many people are listening right now on my live stream who are tied to IP addresses in Springfield, Ohio. Maybe they're waiting for me to talk about this subject. Here's what I need you to know. There is no evidence that illegal aliens are eating people's pets in Springfield, Ohio. I've tried to find it. What I have found is this. A Canton, Ohio woman has been arrested on animal cruelty charges after torturing, killing, and eating a cat. 27-year-old Alexis Farrell of Kenton on Friday, August 16th, tortured, killed, and ate a cat in a residential area in front of multiple people, and I'm going to try not to throw up at this moment. Oh, dear God. Ugh. Conservative right-wing activists online who have social media followings are conflating this story with the other story. The other story is happening, just to my knowledge, they're not eating people's house pets. And this is my chief frustration with so much of influencer media and the like is how many people grasp for details to make an already bad story more salacious, and then other people use those added details to debunk the whole thing. So let me rewind this a little bit. Talking about the SAVE Act. The media tells you the SAVE Act is unnecessary because it's already against the law to vote in federal elections if you're not a citizen, even though there's no enforcement mechanism to prohibit voter registration. But the SAVE Act, which would prohibit people from even registering to vote if they're not U.S. citizens, they say is unnecessary because illegal aliens do not vote in this country. But also in the same stories tell us that actually it happens. It's just a small number. It's 16 here, it's 45 there, it's 2,000 people on a voter registration list who didn't actually go vote, but they're registered to vote, and they're illegal aliens, or I should say they're non-citizens. Some of them are legal aliens, but they're not allowed to vote. So the media tells us this is unnecessary, doesn't happen, but also, hey, by the way, it does happen. And you need to understand that this is the thing that they're doing. This is the thing. You got to pay attention to this. They say this law, the SAVE Act, is unnecessary because it does not happen. By the way, it happens, just not in big numbers. Never mind that we've just seen this massive wave of illegal immigrants come across the country in the last few years. And never mind that we're starting to see Democrats escalate their desire to have illegal aliens and legal aliens register to vote in this country for municipal elections. As I said just a short time ago, a federal government that could not stop a man from trying to kill Donald Trump is a federal government that is not going to stop illegal aliens from voting in an election. The way to stop it is at the state level by forcing the registration process to confirm citizenship before registering. That's what Georgia does. And in Georgia, over 1,000 people attempted to register to vote in the 2022 election between Brian Kemp and Stacey Abrams, who were illegal aliens. No, I'm sorry, it was 2,100 people. And the Secretary of State's office was able to catch them and block them. Why? Because we have a version of the SAVE Act in Georgia already where our Secretary of State affirmatively must check the citizenship status of every single person who tries to vote. And it's a very easy digital process where the Social Security number of the person is put in, it is zapped to Department of Homeland Security, immediately cross-referenced and either accepted or rejected. It's a very quick, unburdensome process. What the media tells us is that it doesn't happen, it's not real, and then, by the way, it's happening. And that's what they're doing with Springfield, Ohio. By the way, Springfield, Ohio is very near Yellow Springs, Ohio, which is where Utters and Putters is, and I want to go there so bad. Utters and Putters is a dairy just south of Springfield, Ohio, where they also have mini putt-putt and a driving range and batting cages, and you can get ice cream and desserts. And I want to go to Utters and Putters and hit golf balls. At some point, we're going to make it happen. Road show, those of you in Ohio, will show up in Dayton, and we'll drive out to Yellow Springs to Utters and Putters. Be fantastic. Nonetheless, I digress. So the media, just like the media is telling us that illegal aliens don't vote in this country, except they do, they're telling us that this isn't true. There's no evidence that Haitian migrants are stealing farm animals. And what they've done is they're conflating it with the edgelords of the right who are saying these Haitians are killing people's house cats. They've conflated it with the story from Canton, Ohio. There's no proof the Haitians are eating people's house pets. There is, however, a lot of proof they're eating the ducks in the park. A Springfield, Ohio resident has claimed that Haitian migrants have been decapitating ducks in public parks and eating them. The aggrieved man made the claim during a city commission meeting last month to address the influx of legal Haitian immigrants, which has revitalized the local economy but sparked controversy. I really challenge you guys to get out here and do something, he told the meeting. This man, however, you should know, he's not white, so he can't be racist, according to them. According to the left, he can't be racist. These Haitians are running into trash cans, running into buildings. They're flipping cars in the middle of the street. They're in the park, grabbing up ducks by their neck, cutting their heads off and walking off with them. They're eating them. Springfield, Ohio, this is from the Daily Mail, has become a flashpoint over immigration. Willing to do blue-collar jobs, locals were unenthusiastic about this. Daily Mail writing this. The Haitians, who are in the country legally, moved to town. Within a few years, 20,000 immigrants arrived, swelling Springfield's population, which was only 58,000. The Haitians had Social Security numbers and job permits, paid taxes, and lived in houses that were empty and boarded up as the town shrank. However, their arrival put a strain on medical services and the education system. I think it's sad some people are using this as an opportunity to spread hate or spread fear, Deputy Director of Public Safety and Operations Jason Villa told NPR. We get these reports that the Haitians are killing ducks in our parks, or the Haitians are eating vegetables right out of the aisle in the grocery store. We haven't really seen any of that. It's really frustrating. As a community, it's not helpful as we try to move forward. Here's the problem, though. Whether it's with illegal aliens voting, or whether it's with Joe Biden, or whether it's with Kamala Harris, the mainstream media so often now tells us this isn't true, this isn't true, this isn't true, this isn't true, and then suddenly it is. A woman in Springfield, Ohio, went to the city council and complained she was driven from her home by illegal aliens from Haiti in Springfield, Ohio. She can't live in her house. It's unsafe in her neighborhood. She tried to help, and she was harassed. Men who cannot speak English are in my front yard screaming at me, throwing mattresses and throwing trash in my front yard. And she and her elderly husband had to leave their home of 45 years in Springfield, Ohio. And the media wants to deny this stuff is happening. Here are the people saying this is happening to them. Here are the people who are speaking up, saying this is real. And yet the media tells us it's not. Look, it's true. They're not eating your pets. And the people telling you that appear to be lying based on everything I can find. They're simply making a bad story more salacious to capture your attention. But the reality is, yes, there are Haitians in the parks cutting off the heads of geese and ducks and eating them. Yeah, it's true. In fact, a picture came out today of some Haitian dude walking down a street with a headless goose. By the way, it was a Canadian goose, which is protected migratory bird, so the guy broke the law. I say this as I play at a golf course where someone got in trouble for killing a Canadian goose that tried to attack him while he was trying to putt. There's clearly a problem. And part of the problem is, in order to help the Democrats, members of the media are just denying these stories are true. And when you're denying a story is true, you lose your credibility. In the same way, you make a story more salacious than it is, you should lose your credibility as well. What I want you to pay attention to, and what you should be frustrated about, though, is that there are people on the right who are adding untrue things to the stories, and that's providing the ammunition for which the media can say, this isn't true. They're not killing people's house pets. I guess the whole story's not true. And that's the problem here, too. We got a real problem on our hands. It's a real story. There are plenty of documentary evidence. There are plenty of eyewitnesses that this is happening in Springfield, Ohio. And the media just says, no, it's not true. The Democrats in charge say it's not true. Therefore, it must not be true. Just like the Venezuelan gang taking over the apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado. I keep wanting to say Illinois for both of these. It's throwing me off. Grown-ups at some point need to decide that they're going to go with the truth and deal with the truth. And the truth of the matter is that there's a problem with the Haitian migrants in Springfield, Ohio. There's a problem with the Venezuelan gangs in Aurora, Colorado. And there is a problem with non-citizens voting in this country. And it may be small, but it exists. And we should solve those problems. If you can't solve the problem of an gang of illegal aliens taking over an apartment complex and making people fear for their lives, what good is the government? The government is supposed to keep us safe. And when the government instead chooses to lie about the problem because they're worried, the people in charge are worried about an election, they're breaking the compact with the people. And that historically never ends well. So government, stop lying about the problems the Biden-Harris administration has created and start fixing those problems. Or you never know, they might just put Donald Trump back in charge and he'll fix those problems and you can scream and bellyache and complain. But you had a chance and instead you chose to lie to people and tell them it wasn't actually a problem even though it was. One of the other problems in this country is progressives actually putting pressure on financial institutions to shut down accounts of people and businesses they don't like. Like, for example, gun stores trying to get a bank account, and regional banks and national banks are shutting them down because they don't want to do business with the gun companies. It's how they're trying to do a backdoor around the Second Amendment. It's one of the reasons Old Glory Bank was started. OldGloryBank.com. They were by conservatives for conservatives, and they want to fight against the debanking trends for conservatives, for gun stores and gun owners. You want to be able to purchase a gun with your debit card, things like that. OldGloryBank.com. OldGloryBank.com. You can get an account with them. I have an account with them. I have a savings account and I have a checking account with them. You can do direct deposit with them. They've got great budgeting tools, bill pay, you name it. OldGloryBank.com. OldGloryBank.com. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, terms and conditions apply. They really are my bank. I really do like them. I think you will as well. If you want a great online bank, you don't have a local branch, you can still deposit cash to the bank account, though. They're great. OldGloryBank.com. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, terms and conditions apply.
You can follow Eric around on social media at EW Erickson on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And check him out at EWErickson.com.
149, the Cool Ray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory still in place with this crash over on the 285 eastbound inner loop ramp to 85 northbound. Right lane still taken out. Maybe think about using 141 to get you over into Norcross. This report brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Get organics on sale at Whole Foods Market. Save on organic Honey Crisp apples through September 10th while supplies last. Shop in store or online. Terms apply. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
It could be a turning point in the race for president.
And I have a debate coming up with this one.
The ABC News presidential debate.
I will bring back the bipartisan border security bill.
Hear it live beginning at 9 p.m. Tomorrow night. Donald Trump.
She didn't want a debate.
Kamala Harris.
I will proudly put my record against his.
Stay connected to the very latest in this presidential campaign on 95.5 WSB, your 2024 election station.
Do you think you need to renovate your kitchen, but you're worried about the costs? Well, Frugal Kitchens can help you get $1 million looking kitchen for a fraction of the cost and 18 months, no interest financing available. The best part, they can get you back up and cooking in 5 days from the start of construction. Life happens in your kitchen. That's where you build so many memories. If you're like Christy and me, that's why we use Frugal Kitchens, and you can too. FrugalKitchens.com is the website. Go check them out. Don't forget 18 months, no interest financing available. FrugalKitchens.com.
I'm Kamala Harris. Here's a few things I believe. Middle-class families, like the one I grew up in, they want common sense solutions. You want lower prices and lower taxes. I believe you want to just not get by, but you want to get ahead. We must create an opportunity economy where everyone has a chance to get a car loan, buy a home, start a business. And I believe we can make that happen.
Kamala Harris's plan? Bring down costs by cracking down on corporate price gougers. Make homeownership more affordable for families. A middle-class tax cut for 100 million Americans. And make sure billionaires and big corporations pay their fair share so you can keep more of the money you've earned.
Instead of being focused on the politics of the past, we need to be thinking about the future and how we make it better for families like yours. I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Harris for President.
Get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. Sell your home for maximum value without the stress of listing your home on the market. It's Eric Erickson here. Fall's a busy time. Trying to sell your home can be overwhelming. With the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, you skip the hassle, receive an all-cash offer, and you close within days. No showings, no open houses. The best part, no stress. With over 12,000 five-star reviews, you can trust Mark Spain Real Estate to sell your home quickly and for the most money. Go to markspain.com, find out what your guaranteed offer will be, and start packing.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz, and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no, and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Want Eric's weekly recipes? They're super delicious. Text recipe to 33777 now.
All right, Nick Roberts, I hope you're listening at WHIO. Just real-time focus group of who's listening. So I've got Chris on Twitter. Says, hey, Eric, love your show. I think you meant Young's Jersey Dairy. Udders and Putters is one of their attractions. I just saw Udders and Putters on Apple Maps and clicked through, and they got a whole website for Udders and Putters at Young's Jersey Dairy. So that's Chris on Twitter. There's Roger on Twitter. Hey, Eric, just so you know, it is Young's Jersey Dairy. And then we have Kenny and Chris and Bob and Charles and Mary and Beth and another Beth. So, yes, everybody's listening. We got the Dayton and Springfield. And by the way, Kenneth, separate from Kenny, tells me Yellow Springs, that's also where Dave Chappelle lives. So we can go to Udders and Putters at Young's Jersey Dairy, and then we can go watch Dave Chappelle. And then Chris on Twitter also sends me the local link. Springfield Turner will seek funds to support work with the Haitian population. This is from the Springfield News-Sun. With thousands of Haitian immigrants coming to Springfield in the past 5 years, local leaders are working with the federal government to obtain financial assistance to support the large population increase. It really is that they're not eating the cats. In fact, let's see. I got another lady here. Yes. Oh no, I don't want to go back to it. So it's not an illegal immigrant who ate the cat. It's a crazy woman from Canton, Ohio, which is separate. But it's all happening. The illegal aliens in the Springfield area are actually taking the wildlife. Someone also told me that I should say Canada geese, not Canadian geese. I refuse to say Canada geese. They are geese from Canada. That means they are Canadian, and they are horrible, horrible creatures that should be taken off of every endangered migratory list so they can be taken out with golf clubs or shotguns. They are horrible. You know, my in-laws have these stupid Canadian geese that land on their property and poop everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And for the longest time, they had their dog, and their dog would go outside and chase the geese off to keep them from pooping off the lawn. Now, the dog got old and died, and they don't have a new dog, and I just, it's terrible. I actually do know someone. He's not a friend of mine, but he was in the process of putting on this golf course, and a Canadian goose went nuts on him, and he wound up taking defensive action against the bird, and they charged him with a crime for killing the Canadian goose that attacked him first. They're horrible creatures. They are, I mean, they're like the devil spawn. Canadian geese are disgusting. Charlie says they also taste great. He hears from third parties and cannot confirm himself. I don't know about that. Can you turn them into Peking goose? I'm just telling you, though, that Canadian geese are a menace, and I do not, those of you listening in Springfield, Ohio right now, if the Haitians are getting rid of the Canadian geese, they're doing you and your community a favor. Leave the mallards alone unless they know how to smoke them with tea and turn them into Peking duck. But if they're going after the Canadian geese, they're actually doing you a favor by getting rid of those little tyrant Justin Trudeau types that are coming in and pooping all over your lawn. That's all I'll say about that. We got to move on to other stuff. When we come back on the fly with this program, we got a lot of other stuff to talk about. I have no idea what it's going to be. That's why you want to come back, because I will see something that excites me. But I promise, this is how much I love my audience. I will not review Apple iPhone launch day because it's happening right now, and I didn't take the day off because I love you so much. I should be home right now watching Tim Cook unveil the next iPhone, and instead I'm here with you, and I'm not going to hold it over your head, and I'm not going to talk about it, but we got a lot more news to talk about when we do come back.
It's that time of year. Vacations, cookouts, fun. But I hope you aren't ignoring your home to-do list. You know, the one that starts, get water leak in basement fixed. Dave Baker here for AquaGuard Foundation Solutions. Here, let me help you get started. If you have water in your basement or mold and mildew smells down there, simply go to aquaguard.net and set up an appointment for a free inspection from an AquaGuard expert. Well, that was easy. There's a reason they're the trusted local experts. Just remember, AquaGuard.
If you have COPD, here are some reasons to go see your pulmonologist again. 1, those flare-ups you keep having, they have the chance to cause permanent lung damage. 2, we now know a certain type of inflammation can cause flare-ups for some people. And 3,
when can I see Grandma?
Need more reasons? Visit www.livewithcopd.com.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. A disturbing trend in metro Atlanta. There's an increase in school threats since last week's shooting in Barrow County. At least one student is arrested in Gwinnett County.
The online threat was posted on Friday. It turned out to be a hoax. Sergeant Colin Flynn with Gwinnett Police telling WSB.
Once the Gwinnett County Police Department received the threat, they were able to identify the phone number that made the actual threat, and that we're able to follow up with a 16-year-old juvenile at his house.
He says the 16-year-old was taken into custody for felony terroristic threats and taken to a Metro Atlanta Youth Detention Center. Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
All Barrow County schools except Appalachia High return to class tomorrow, less than a week after last week's mass shooting. Superintendent Dr. Dallas LaDuff says the district is doing all it can to help students feel safe.
You could expect to see additional security staff provided by the Barrow County Sheriff's Office and the Georgia State Patrol at our schools.
Appalachia students are allowed back at the school today to collect their belongings. It is unclear when Appalachia High School will return to class. It is 84 degrees in Atlanta. Sunshine rules today. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. Tropical storm Francine forms out in the Gulf of Mexico. Forecasters expect it to be near the Louisiana coast by midweek, and it could be a hurricane by then. Christina says it likely will impact our weather later this week. 2 are dead in a DeKalb County house fire. DeKalb Fire Captain Jason Daniels tells WSB investigators found the bodies after fighting an overnight blaze off Cohasset Lane.
We conducted a further investigation, and as a result of that, we found 2 bodies or victims inside of the location.
He says parts of the house collapsed in on itself. Investigators are working to identify the victims and how the fire started. Kensington Palace provides an update today on the Princess of Wales. Kate Middleton appears in a video message after undergoing cancer treatment.
Although I have finished chemotherapy, my path to healing and full recovery is long.
and I must continue to take each day as it comes.
Kate revealed in March she had been diagnosed with an unspecified form of cancer. She says she looks forward to being back at work soon. It is now 2:02, and up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
Eric Erickson for Hip Nation with a question for small business owners. What would you do if, no strings attached, I handed you $50 or $80 or $100,000 in extra cash flow each year? Give your employees a raise? Pay off debt? Put it in your own pocket? If you're attracted to the idea of an infusion of newfound cash, drop your expensive health insurance and give Hip Nation a call. Hip Nation can save you an impactful amount of money and improve the quality of healthcare for your employees. A 13-person company switched to Hip Nation and saved $80,000 and then used the windfall to buy a new air conditioning system for their warehouse. So I'm going to ask you again, what would you do if I gave you $50, $80, or even $100,000? Go to HipNation.com. You'll find out the savings are real. Then start putting money you save on health insurance back into your business or even into your pocket. HipNation.com. That's HipNation.com. The call's free. Your savings are life-changing.
If you need to perform under pressure, then you need a Kubota on your side for the toughest tasks. Mason Tractor Company is one of the oldest family-owned farm equipment dealers in Georgia, and they have the expertise and experience to match the right equipment with your exact needs. Mason Tractor Company has Kubota tractors, mowers, construction equipment, and more. When you want a machine you can trust, you need a Kubota from Mason Tractor Company. Visit one of their locations across Georgia or find them online at masontractor.com.
You need new air conditioning, but options and pricing can be confusing, so you keep throwing money into your old system. Well, now you can finally stop repairing and start replacing. Doug Turnbull here at Guardian Home Experts, the company my family and I trust, have figured it out by offering you the most affordable options, the highest quality work, and impeccable customer service from a local family-owned company. Right now, with Guardian and Daikin, you'll receive a $1,450 instant rebate and 0% interest for up to 60 months. That's as low as $99 a month to own a qualifying system, not a lease. When I say the most affordable options, that means Guardian offers a meter beat price match guarantee up to $500. Details are online. I know you'll become a Guardian customer for life just like me, so get your free estimate today and they'll install tomorrow.
Call 470 experts. Guardian Home Experts.
It is 2:05 and time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. And in the 24-hour traffic center this afternoon is Veronica Harrell.
And saying good afternoon to you, Bill. Right now, still dealing with a travel advisory with this crash over on the 285 eastbound inner loop ramp to 85 northbound. Right now, in the right lane is taking out, causing delays for you trying to get into Spaghetti Junction. Maybe think about using 141 Peachtree Boulevard. Staying in DeKalb County is construction. I-20 eastbound, east of Wesley Chapel Road, exit 68 in the left lane, slowing things now. And down, police are responding to a crash. I-20 westbound, west of Panola Road, exit 71, also taking out at least one lane of travel. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Mostly sunny today, high 85. Clear and cool for tonight as temperatures fall to the upper 50s to low 60s. Tomorrow, sunshine and heating up to a high of 87. Mostly cloudy and breezy on Wednesday, high 84.
We'll be monitoring Tropical Storm Francine. It is expected to bring rain and showers to the metro area on Thursday, and it will continue through Saturday. Right now, beautiful 78 in Powder Springs, 80 in Sugar Hill, and 81 in Forest Park. More news at 2:30 and breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is Monday. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBradio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is Monday. Join me live at 3 for the Von Hessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
My fellow Americans, I am delighted to have you with me. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Want to set the record, make it a little more clear for you with the Haitian situation in Springfield, Ohio, is they're legal aliens. The Biden administration classified a lot of them as illegal given the Haitian situation back in Haiti. they were allowed to come into this country as illegal immigrants, not illegal immigrants. And they weren't all just dropped off in Springfield, Ohio at one time. It was a wave that headed up there, replacing jobs, and the Biden administration encouraged more to go. So there's a 20,000, but it did not happen all at once, but over time. And they're not illegal aliens per se. They're allowed to be here by the Biden administration. Some of them actually came during the Trump administration, but expedited during the Biden administration. So, but still, it's a wild story there. Talk about, this is what happens, by the way, when progressives decide there's no need for a melting pot, when progressives decide that we can be a salad bowl where every culture stays the same and we're all piled in together without any need to assimilate. A country cannot survive if its immigrant populations do not assimilate into the country and take on the characteristics of the population already there. Choosing to stay apart and distinct is not healthy for any society. Now, I'm going to move on to something else. Got some folks on hold who want to talk about it. I will get to your calls, but first, need to talk about something else. Here's one of my great concerns that I hope gets fleshed out in the debate tomorrow, and I don't know that it will. That is the size and scope of the federal government. I do not want to revisit ad nauseum, the whole Winston Churchill Hitler stuff from last week with Tucker Carlson. But I got to add a side note to it that's relevant to this. There are a growing number of mostly younger men on the right who all have the same freaking haircut. All of them. They all got the same haircut. It's wild. These rugged individualists who all sound the same, think the same, get the same haircut, wear the same clothes, and mouth off on social media about the post-war consensus. And many of them have actually decided that the outcome of World War II was bad and we were on the wrong side. And one of the many things they want to do is they want to use the government in the way they perceive the left using the government. In other words, they want to use government as a weapon against their enemies because they perceive that the left has used government as a weapon against their enemies, and they have no desire to actually gut the government. They want to use the government. And their argument is that if we gut the government, we can't engage in retribution against the left. They will have been able to use the government against us, and we won't be able to get retribution. Now, what's so ironic here is that many of these same people are so-called Christian nationalists, and Scripture's very clear. Jesus says that he will be the agent of revenge. Let him handle the revenge. You go love your neighbor, and you can turn the other cheek, and he'll take care of it for you. And these guys are like, no, we don't worship that Jesus. We worship the one who threw the money changers out of the temple, and we want to beat everybody up. It's very wild. The growth of government, though, is a problem. Brian Westbury is a well-known economist, chief economist with First Trust Limited Partnership, and a pretty prominent free market economist. And he's got a graph up today, real GDP growth in small and big government eras. And this is his tweet. Let me read it to you. Politicians tell us all the time, give us more money and we will create wealth and jobs. Here's the reality. Real gross domestic product was above or near 4% growth whenever we kept government contained. But in the last 20 years, with the biggest federal government ever, real growth has slowed to just 2%. If you want to understand what this means, at 4% growth, we double every 18 years. At 2% growth, it doubles every 36 years. No wonder houses aren't affordable and people feel like it's harder to get ahead. The bigger the government gets, the harder it is to grow. The harder it is to grow for the middle class. Do you know one of the groups the Bolsheviks campaigned against? Now, there were a lot of groups the Bolsheviks campaigned against when Lenin was taking over the Soviet Union and in the Russian Revolution. But one of the groups, one of the specifically targeted groups of people were the farmers. The Bolsheviks hated the farmers. In fact, they hated the bourgeois. I had to explain this to a friend a couple weeks ago because it sounds so counterintuitive. The bourgeois, you know who the bourgeois are? They're the middle class. More precisely, in common usage, they're the upper middle class. They're not the billionaires. They're not even the millionaires. They're the upper middle class, making low to mid six figures, running small businesses. The Bolsheviks hated the farmers because they argued that by controlling land and cattle, the farmers were controlling the means of production, and in controlling the means of production, they were allocating resources to their benefit and not the benefit of all the people. And therefore, we needed the government to take them over, take over all the farms, kill the farmers, and put everyone else in charge. And what do we have? Mass starvation in the Soviet Union. The Bolsheviks, the communists, they hate the middle class, particularly the upper middle class, small business owners, because they believe the small business owners control the capital, and in controlling the capital, they're controlling the capital to their benefit and the benefit of their family. Now, in reality, the way we work in a capitalist system, the way we're supposed to work in a capitalist system, is by letting individuals control the capital. Those individuals deploy it to benefit themselves. And in benefiting themselves, they engage in what's called an arm's length transaction. And so the people they engage with are engaged for their own benefit. And by both sides working for their own individual benefit, they compromise on something that benefits them both. And all the ships rise with the tide in arm's length capitalist transactions. The left, and now even some on the right, though, they don't like the small business owners. Those on the right who don't like the small business owners, well, the small business owner might be a progressive. And because they're progressive, they're giving their money to the Democrats. It's against their own interests. You hear this a lot these days on both sides. The left can't understand why the working class would vote against their interests. Donald Trump would be so bad for them. Maybe we shouldn't listen to people who think that they know what your best interest is better than yourself. That's the whole point of free markets. In a free market, you yourself have your best interest at heart, not the government. The government has the collective at heart. And this is the problem for this modern strain of republicanism. And just like the progressives on the left, the progressives on the right, they're all about the government knows best to do for you. And the result is that as the government grows, the middle class gets smothered. The more government you have, the less private sector you have. The private sector allocates wealth through arm's length transactions. The government allocates wealth through dictate and bureaucrat. And arm's length transactions are more efficient. And the problem that both the Democrats and Republicans have right now is that the leaderships of the parties are not really committed to shrinking the government. Donald Trump, in fact, gave his big speech last week, and he wants to use tariffs. In fact, Donald Trump made a wild claim that if we just add tariffs, we'll be able to replace what we're getting, or we'll be able to close the federal deficit. Now, here's the thing. You can do the math. You do a 10% tariff. We know from the private sector. We don't even have to know it from the government sector. We know it from the combined data of the private sector that we generate like $3.1 trillion in international trade. If you add a 10% tariff, I'm not great at math, but this one's easy. That's about $310 billion in revenue from tariffs. So let's just keep the math simple. For $3 trillion in international trade that we do, you had a 10% tariff like Donald Trump wants, that's going to generate $300 billion static. That's important here. The word static is important. And our national deficit every year is about $1.8 trillion minimum. So his claim that we're going to be able to pay off the deficit every year by adding the tariff is wrong, and that's if it's static. But it's not static. What's one of the reasons for the tariff? One of the reasons for the tariff is to reallocate resources to domestic production, which would be actually more expensive than foreign production, even with the tariff, and therefore it would continue to generate less and less money as we repatriate more and more capital. So you're never actually going to close the deficit. It makes no sense. But at the same time, what's the Democratic solution? It's to grow the government into every resource of our lives. Neither the Democrats nor the Republicans actually have a responsible treatment for dealing with the size and scope of the federal government. And as the size and scope of the federal government grows, the private sector shrinks, and therefore the middle class shrinks. The reason you people can't buy houses right now is because government's grown so much. Government has sapped money from the private sector that would go to your paycheck, that would boost your pay enough to be able to make the minimum down payment now, which has gone up something like $60,000 to $105,000 as a minimum necessary for a down payment on a reasonably sized house these days. It's insane. And neither party wants to deal with the size and scope of government, but government has got to be gutted. And the side benefit for those of you on the right who want to use government as a weapon against the left to pay them back, if you actually gut the government, the left thrives on and needs government for power. So you gut the government, you deprive the left of their power. If you get rid of the institutions of government the left needs for power, you get rid of the left's ability to control power, and you return it to the people. And so you actually accomplish your goal of giving retribution to the left by taking away the thing they want and need the most, power. Brian Westbury's right. Donald Trump, I learned today, by the way, and I'm sure it's not just me, I'm sure it's others as well, but I learned today that there is someone whose job it is to listen to my show every day from that campaign. So whoever you are, God bless you for having put up with me. And two, if you would just remind the campaign that by cutting the size of the federal government, you grow the size of the private sector. And the private sector spends money more reliably, more efficiently, and better so that more people can make higher incomes and buy houses. You want to solve the housing crisis in the country? Cut the federal government so the private sector can thrive.
Well connected and well respected. It's Eric Erickson live every weekday.
220 in the Cooler Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Big story continues to be that there's a crash right now over on the 285 eastbound interloop ramp to 85 northbound. At times, the ramp completely shut down. You're dealing with delays into Spaghetti Junction. Go ahead, maybe think about using Peachtree Boulevard, 141. This report brought to you by your Atlanta Braves. The Dodgers come to Truist Park September 13th through the 16th, followed by the Mets September 24th through the 26th. Purchase tickets at Braves.com/promos. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves country. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is Monday. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBradio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is Monday. Join me live at 3 for the Von Haessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
Lifetime. It's a long time. Only Findlay Roofing provides a lifetime leak-free warranty on labor and materials at no additional cost. With Findlay, you'll never have to worry about your roof ever again. FindlayRoofing.com.
Roof. At City of Hope, we are driven to stop lung cancer, to respond to its every change, its every mutation with a new treatment approach, to meet the most complex cases with the latest innovations, to analyze cancer down to its DNA, then fight it with the newest surgical, radiation, and immunotherapies, to never give up, so you can be driven by hope. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
Hi, I'm Nicole Beck, Customer Relations Manager at Butler Lexus of South Atlanta. We don't complete transactions, we build relationships. I invite you to come to our store and see exactly what I mean. Experience amazing at Butler Lexus South Atlanta, 800 New Lexus.
Dave Baker here for Air Quality Systems. If you haven't had your heating and air ducts cleaned in the last 5 years, you need Air Quality Systems. They'll come to your house and clean all that gunk out of your ductwork. That's all they do. They won't wash your siding. They won't clean your carpet. They'll just professionally clean your ducts to the same standards using the same process that they use to clean at UGA, at Children's Healthcare, and at other major hospitals in the metro area. You'll get upfront, all-in pricing over the phone, and your ducts will be clean. Simply go to airqualitysystems.com and breathe easy.
Hey, are you strapped in yet? Seatbelt buckled? It's going to be a wild ride, and we're all on the roller coaster of this election. Less than 60 days to go, thank goodness. We're in the home stretch. Are you in the home stretch towards retirement? You might be white-knuckling it more than anybody else. It's Eric Erickson here. If you're over 50, have $250,000 or more saved for retirement, I'm doing a special live event with my friend and weekly Fox business guest, David Nicholas of Nicholas Wealth Management, on Thursday, October 3rd at 6 p.m. at the Foxglove in Marietta. It's open to the public if you've saved $250,000 or more for retirement, but seating is very limited. You can bring a spouse, bring a friend. We're going to discuss hot topics surrounding the November election and how the economy and your retirement could be impacted. Food and a cash bar are going to be provided by Carriage House Catering. Again, it's a registration-only event with limited seating. Call 404-890-5606 or go to nicholaswealth.com to register today. Again, it's me, Eric Erickson, my friend David Nicholas, live on Thursday, October 3rd at 6 p.m. at the Foxglove in Marietta for a free event talking about the markets and the election. Call 404-890-5606 or go to nicholaswealth.com to attend this free event while seating lasts.
This is an educational program only. Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is for informational purposes only and will not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and particular needs of any person who listens to this show. This is a paid advertisement.
Men, if you're suffering from ED or PE, Priority Men's Medical Center will get your love life back in just one visit. Their painless, breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments will restore your love life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients will have their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To regain your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Want to be on the show? Come on, be on the show. Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation. The phone number 877-973-7425. Scott, going to go to you next. Welcome to the show. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Eric. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. I just was talking earlier about the non-citizen, legal or illegal immigrants being sent voter registration cards, and I can affirm that because my wife has been married to her for 30 years, and she's been stateside 27 of those years, and it never fails. Every election, whether it be local, state, federal, they send her mail, text, call her on the phone, and what's it that makes it even more interesting is actually use her name, so they know who she is.
Good grief.
So, but yeah,
and not a citizen.
Yeah, not a citizen. Yeah, she's a legal resident alien.
Wow.
I just want to give your listeners that, yes, it is true. We've been here 27 years stateside, and ever since the technology has updated since, 99, 2000, telephones got out, emails have become more popular. Even though she doesn't use a lot of email, yes, she uses her phone. She's got other apps that she uses, but she is a foreign national that is here legally in the United States. And she gets, like you said, emails, texts. She just got a text last week from the Harris campaign talking about convicted felon Trump. So it is out there, and it does happen.
Yeah, look,
So I'll let you get back to it. Yeah.
I'm glad you stuck around to make that point. And yes, I mean, you don't have to take my word for it. There's Scott, his wife, a legal, not illegal, but legal alien resident of the United States who the Harris campaign is trying to get to go register to vote. Now, living in Georgia, she won't be able to. You fill out the form. And just so you understand this, no one can stop you from filling out the form. But once the form is processed, the identifier is your Social Security number, and that is automatically, by law, in every county in the state of Georgia, it has to. They can't even opt out of it. They have to put your information in the computer, and that number is mandatory. And when that number is put in, it is automatically sent to the Department of Homeland Security computer system and comes back and says legal or illegal, yes or no. There's no way around it in the state of Georgia, but in many states, they don't use that system. And all Chip Roy's trying to do with the SAVE Act is get everybody to use the system Georgia uses, where you're immediately, when you're put into the system, it's a manual entry form. You put in that person's Social Security number, it immediately goes to the Department of Homeland Security database, where either citizen or non-citizen, and the non-citizen can't be registered. It's a common sense solution. We know illegal aliens have voted in this country. We know resident aliens have voted in this country, and we know they're not supposed to. So improve the system. Even if it's small, it's still happening. Improve the system. Hillsdale College actually has a course you can take on citizenship that's completely free from Victor Davis Hanson. You can get so much from Hillsdale College for free. You can get, for example, Imprimis, which I get on a regular basis. You can get Hillsdale College's class courses. You can get their podcast network. All you do is go to ericforhillsdale.com, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. Let me just talk to you about their Constitution one that you get at ericforhillsdale.com. You can take this at no charge. And I have learned stuff that, this was my specialty in undergrad, and it did great in law school and con law, and I learned stuff from more of the nuances of the Great Compromise and the ordeal in Philadelphia when they were writing the Constitution, why the Constitution is structured the way it is. Go to ericforhillsdale.com today, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. You can start getting this. It's all free. The podcast network, Imprimis, the classes, ericforhillsdale.com. Start a relationship with Hillsdale College today. You'll be smarter than your neighbors and well informed about this country.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. A disturbing trend at schools across the metro Atlanta area since last week's shooting in Barrow County.
There have been an increase in what we're calling hoax threats at different schools.
Sergeant Colin Flynn with Gwinnett Police says they recently arrested a 16-year-old student.
Based on the circumstances and the severity of the threat that he had made, officers decided to go ahead and make an arrest in this case for felony terroristic threat.
He warns terroristic threats is a felony that can lead to jail time. Gwinnett Police have followed up on numerous threats since the shooting in Barrow County. Appalachia High School is canceling this week's football game with a county rival, Winder Barrow. Appalachia remains closed less than a week after the shooting that left 4 dead and 9 injured. One of the shooting victims, Ricky Aspinwall, was a coach on the football team. Winder Barrow will instead play Seconder on Friday. The Bremen High School quarterback seriously injured during a game is honored by his classmates. Carson Kimball has been named Homecoming King. He found out about it from his hospital bed at Grady Hospital, where he had spinal surgery. A GoFundMe is set up to help his family with medical expenses. 2 people are found dead after DeKalb firefighters respond to a fire on Cohasset Lane overnight. They say the home collapsed in on itself. Investigators are working to identify the victims and find out a cause of the fire. We now have Tropical Storm Francine in the Gulf of Mexico. Meteorologist Samara Theodore says it could hit Texas or Louisiana as a Category 1 hurricane midweek.
We're looking around Wednesday afternoon for landfall, that timing give or take just a bit. And we could see a good amount of rain from this. Upwards of 10 inches of rain is certainly possible with this storm system. So flooding will be the biggest threat, along with life-threatening storm surge.
It is expected to bring rain to Metro Atlanta Thursday and Friday. It is 2:32. Next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
It's Eric. Are you thinking of adding value to your house, or just you want more convenience and more comfort in your kitchen? Frugal Kitchens can get you one of those $1 million home kitchens at a fraction of the cost. They want to talk to you about how you can go through their process, get your new dream kitchen up and going, and you can be cooking in 5 days from the start of construction and get 18 months no interest financing available. It's what Christy and I have done. Life happens in your kitchen, and Frugal Kitchens can put you in a great one. FrugalKitchens.com.
Some home problems are obvious. You know what's broken and who to call. But not every issue is simple. Doug Turnbull here for the only folks I trust with the foundation of my home, Atlanta Ramjack. A few years back, I saw cracks in my drywall. I called the best in the business, Ramjack. They did a free inspection and put my mind at ease. I didn't have a foundation issue. No overselling, just an honest assessment. Foundation problems are not always obvious, so trust who I trust. Just Google Atlanta Ramjack.
A word of caution for motorcycle riders. Remember, 18-wheelers have bigger blind spots, and it takes them longer to stop than a smaller vehicle. Eric Von Hassler here to remind you that if an 18-wheeler forces you to lay your bike down, you need to call in Steel Horse Law. Attorney George Stein is a motorcycle rider, and he understands bikers' needs. Get more info and request a free Rider's Advantage card at steelhorselaw.com.
How would you like some new windows for your home? Yeah, you. Guess what? Today is buy one, get one. And we'll throw in a brand new top-of-the-line gutter system. And guess what? If you call right now, it's half price. But you have to call right now or the deal goes away. Hi, this is Candace with Exovations, and have I got a tip for you? Don't fall for it. It's exhausting trying to keep up with all the fake specials being offered. And we all say the same thing. We're all licensed, we're all insured, we all have 5-star reviews. At Exovations, we want to earn your business the right way. But don't take our word for it. Let us show you why we say we are different from other contractors. To find out what it means to have an on-time, on-budget, and stress-free renovation, call me today at 770-205-2995 or online at exovations.com. That's exovations.com.
At 2:34, Veronica Harrell is in the traffic center.
And still talking about a travel advisory over in Spaghetti Junction, 285 eastbound, the Interloop ramp to 85 northbound. The right lane is currently shut down because of this long-standing crash. What it was a crash involving a car that was carrying a house. So that's why it's taking so long to clear. Think about taking maybe 141 or Buford Highway. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
82 degrees now in Ackworth, 81 in Winder, 82 in Palmetto. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, because the truth is what matters. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Hello, friends. How are you? It's Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I want to spend a little more time on the competitive nature and the size and scope of government, because there's actually something out you may not hear about in other talk radio programs. Mario Draghi has released a report on EU competitiveness, and I need to do a more expansive thing. My goal here is to remind you that we are the most awesome country on the planet. First, you should know that the Chinese, a tale as old as the communist regimes, they're having food shortages in China. That's right. Xi Jinping risks social unrest in China. He is, his government controls, among other things, and he is causing food shortages. The Chinese economy allegedly is growing. They've been in a depression in China. This hasn't got a lot of international coverage, but they've been in a depression in China. And depressions are bad. Like we all think, just bear with me here. And I admit going into this, I'm not an expert, but I know the basics enough to be able to competently deal with this. You all want prices to come down. You actually don't want prices to come down. What you want is your incomes to go up. Now, follow along with me here. A recession is when the economy shrinks. The metric of a recession is 2 quarters of negative economic growth. So your economy shrinks. A depression is when the prices of everything collapse. So inflation is when prices go up, and deflation is when prices go down. And you and I have been thinking the whole time we could use some deflation here. The problem here is a deflationary event becomes a depression, and here's why. Think of all the people out there who are employed right now. Now suddenly the price of every good and service collapses and goes down. Suddenly people are making more money than all of their companies are bringing in because the prices of everything collapsed. So there becomes mass unemployment and people can't get jobs. And then your wages, you have to go work for a company that pays you less than you were making. Meanwhile, your house, your mortgage payment are unchanged. You don't have the money to pay for everything. A deflationary event becoming a depression is a very, very bad thing for an economy. And China has been in a depression where wages and prices began to free fall. So China wound up having to dump a bunch of money in its economy. Unlike us, we've sparked inflation in this economy. China needed inflation. They threw a bunch of money into the economy, but here's the problem. The money in China went to local governments that began lending that money to others who made bad loans, and they couldn't repay the loans even with that much money flowing into the economy, which caused further economic calamity, exacerbated the depressionary situation in China, and now they've got food shortages. We're all focusing on China at war with us, whether we want to believe it or not, and the Chinese economy is collapsing before our eyes. And remember, the Chinese government rigs the numbers to make stuff look good. And when the Chinese government can't even rig the numbers to make it look good, that's a real problem. You know things are bad. But now on the other side of the globe from China and the Asian markets is Europe. Mario Draghi was Italy's prime minister. He was a well-respected economist. Ursula von der Leyen, who is the president of the European Commission, asked Mario Draghi to form a commission and study competitiveness. Here's the reason why. You got to understand this. Let me give you the very basic data. There is no European Union company with a market capitalization over 100 billion euros that's been set up from scratch in the last 50 years. While all 6 U.S. companies with a valuation over 1 trillion euros have been created within the last 50 years. You got this? Let me say this again. And I'm going to use dollars because there's a rough equivalent here. There's not a single company in the European Union with a capitalization of over $100 billion. In other words, there's not a single European Union company worth more than $100 billion that's been set up from scratch in the last 50 years. All 6 U.S. companies with a valuation over $1 trillion have been created within the last 50 years. In other words, the only companies in Europe that are valued at more than $100 billion have been around since at least World War II. While the 6 biggest American companies have only been around for the last 50 years. Why? European competitiveness. So Mario Draghi does this big report. And he says Europe must profoundly refocus its collective efforts on closing the innovation gap with the U.S. and China, particularly advanced technologies. Europe is stuck in a static industrial structure with few companies rising up to disrupt existing industries or develop new growth engines. There's not enough academic institutions achieving top levels of excellence, and the pipeline for innovation into commercialization is weak. There are regulatory barriers to scaling up, particularly onerous to the tech sector for young companies. Now, I'm going to get rid of the jargon here, and I just want to talk to you. It's something I've said a lot since the gathering when we had a discussion about it on stage. The complexity of government is a subsidy to the wealthy. As I said in the last half hour, the bigger the government share of GDP is, the less the private sector can grow. As government consumes more of our economic resources, there's less economic resources for the private sector. The private sector can do more with less. The government is inherently more inefficient than the private sector. So the less the government does, the more capital can move efficiently. And as complex and bureaucratic as our government is, we have nothing on the European Union. Apple is in hot water in the European Union. I know I'm not going to talk about the new iPhone. Yes, I'm going to order it. But Apple is degrading services in the European Union. Intentionally so, I might add. The reason is because the European Union has such burdensome technology laws and requirements and privacy concerns. They've demanded Apple make compromises to their software that the Europeans say will open Apple up and allow people to run things on Apple's devices that Apple itself doesn't want you to run. Apple says it degrades the user experience. It makes your iPhone vulnerable to snooping. It risks your privacy overall while allowing the government to snoop, and it's not going to go along with it. So all new Apple products coming forward are going to limit features in the European Union. Let me read for you part of this Draghi report. First, complex and costly procedures across fragmented national systems discourage inventors from filing intellectual property rights, hindering young companies from leveraging the single market. Second, the European Union's regulatory stance towards tech companies hampers innovation. The EU now has over 100 tech-focused laws and over 270 regulators active in digital networks across member states. Many EU laws take a precautionary approach, dictating specific business practices to avert potential risks. For example, the AI Act imposes additional regulatory requirements on general-purpose AI models that exceed a predefined threshold of computational power, a threshold that some state-of-the-art models already exceed. Third, digital companies are deterred from doing business across the EU via subsidiaries as they face heterogeneous requirements, a proliferation of regulatory agencies, and gold plating of EU legislation. Now, what does this mean? In this country, because of our interstate commerce rules, if a company does business across the nation, the federal government gets to regulate it. In the European Union, the European governmental system gets to regulate, and then the subsidiary individual countries get their own regulations as well. So you're not just complying with one regulatory structure, you're complying with the regulatory structures of every country in Europe and the European Union on top of it. And then here's what the nanny state bureaucrats of the European Union are doing. This is what Draghi's getting at with the AI Act. The AI Act is requiring that if you use artificial intelligence, you have to comply in such a way that exceeds the computational ability of the models. In other words, you can't develop artificial intelligence programs in the European Union because the computational power that would be required to do the initial computations to comply with the government don't exist. There's not enough power. The result is that to do AI in Europe, you have to offload capacity to the United States, and then when it comes back into Europe, you've got to do all sorts of compliance on it. It becomes extremely, extremely disadvantageous in Europe. Now, why? This gets back to the cost of doing business. There's more regulation in Europe because you have not just, for lack of a better term, federal regulators at the European Union level, but also the individual country level regulators. Because the countries have refused to give up all of their sovereignty. So in this country, when we formed in the late 1700s, we had 13 individual nations. And those individual nations agreed that they would give up certain powers. This is the thing so many people miss. The states in this country are not autonomous regions of the United States. They're semi-sovereign nations. This is why, for example, the federal government cannot pass a law prohibiting non-citizens from voting at the local level. Because in our federal system, the states get to control their own systems. And their local elections are within their own systems. Therefore, the federal government can't regulate it because the state is a semi-sovereign nation. But the federal government also and the founders understood that when a business begins to spread from one state to the next and begins to do business across the lines of those semi-sovereign nations, there needs to be one set of rules at the federal level that govern as opposed to the local level. There are always some local level compliance issues with torts and things like that, but for actual business compliance, interstate commerce becomes a thing. In the European Union, they haven't gotten rid of their individual commerce rules. So they have an interstate commerce rule for businesses that do business at the European level, but then all of these businesses also have to comply with the individual rules at the nation state level as well. It becomes massively bureaucratic. And then on top of that, there's something else. He writes in this report, while the European Union boasts a strong university system on average, not enough universities and research institutions are at the top. Do you know why? So I did a program years ago in Germany. And one of the things I learned in the program is that the German people who were in this group with me, we were all under 40 years old. We were all in our 30s. None of them liked German universities. And you know why? Because they were free. The European Union elevated free secondary education, or free university education, rather. The result was that you can float in and out of college as long as you want. And so the colleges treat it like that. There's not an aggressive 4-year plan to then get your degree and go out into the workforce. There's a float in and out as much as you want. People take college for granted. There's not a competitive nature there. The European Union has done everything it can to kill competition because it thought competition was bad. This country valued competition, and the result has been this country is better economically than China, better economically than Japan, and better economically than every country in Europe. Because in this country, right now, and the Democrats would love to change this, it's part of the stakes of this election, and right now in this country, we value individual competition in the free market more than any other country in the world. And the result is that our country has the most profitable companies and the most well-off middle class of any country on the planet. Because we know what it takes to innovate. We have an entrepreneurial class. And China, to the extent they had one, Xi Jinping has killed it. And the European Union has smothered its entrepreneurs in a bunch of regulations. In other words, we need to keep being American and stop trying to be more like the rest of the world. All right. I got to move on to other topics. Before I move on to other topics, however, I need to remind you about my great friends and our advertisers, Americans for Prosperity. They are do tank. They're not a think tank. They go into the states and they do the business of the conservative movement. So if you sign up for Americans for Prosperity, they're the leading largest grassroots group on the right. You sign up for them. They're going to teach you how to make a persuasive case to your friends, your family, and even your government on free markets and competition and families. Like school choice, for example, is a great innovator. School choice brings competition into the government classroom and improves all schools, including the public schools. And AFP's got all the data. They've also got all the data on why we need a secure border, and they teach you how to make those arguments to your local government, your state government, your friends and your family. All you got to do is go to americansforprosperity.org, americansforprosperity.org. You go sign up with Americans for Prosperity. You become a leader in the movement to fight for free markets and free people in this country. You become a leader advancing common sense conservatism. They give you the arguments, the data, the tools, and the training to be really effective. They've got chapters in almost every state. So go to americansforprosperity.org today, americansforprosperity.org. Sign up with them today.
You can follow Eric around on social media at EW Erickson on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And check him out at EWErickson.com.
251 in the Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Well, right now, authorities are on the scene of a stalled tractor trailer, 85 northbound at Jimmy Carter Boulevard, exit 99. It is in the central lane, really slowing things down into Norcross. Still dealing with that crash over on the 285 eastbound inner loop ramp to I-85 northbound. That right lane still taken out. At times, the ramp is completely closed. Think about using 141 or Buford Highway into Norcross. And then over on 75 northbound at Wade Green Road, exit 273, crashes off to the right. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
Online,
on the app,
where you get your news,
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
Thank you, Jesus.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 5.
The WSB 5K day bonus blitz
On 95.5 WSB.
Did you know that even a 0.5% difference on your auto loan rate could equal thousands of dollars in savings? Get pre-approved on your next auto loan or save money by refinancing your current auto loan at Coosa Valley Credit Union today. We offer one of the lowest rates in the market, as low as 5.24%. This is Andy Harris. Come see us at a Coosa Valley Credit Union branch near you. We're local and nearby in Northwest Georgia. Plus, you'll always speak to a real person when dealing with us. So come see us.
Equal opportunity lender.
When it rains, it pours right into your crawl space, and that creates that musty smell and dangerous mold growth under your house. Meteorologist Christina Edwards here for American Crawl Space Solutions. Make the smell and the water go away and stop the water from coming back. Call American Crawl Space Solutions. They're experts at keeping your crawl space dry and preventing the mold from growing in your home. Give them a call today.
American Crawl Space Solutions. Foundations too.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare. And that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 877-26-BIBLE. That's 877-26-BIBLE. 877-26-BIBLE.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
7 now.
Greetings. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here. All right. I was going to talk about something else, but this just hit the wires. Remember, Kamala Harris, she was in charge of the border until it became inconvenient. She was the border czar. News outlets referred to her as the border czar. ABC News, which denied she was the border czar, in multiple reports referred to her as the border czar at the time. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement's Baltimore, Maryland office has announced the arrest of their 153rd illegal alien sex offender for this fiscal year. The man is a 2 times deported Honduran national who re-entered the United States illegally as a gotaway and has been convicted of raping a Maryland resident. 153 not illegal aliens, but 153 illegal alien sex offenders. This is a statement from Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Quote, "This is a landmark arrest for ICE Baltimore in that they secured a record 153 non-citizen sex offenders arrested in their area of operations during a single fiscal year, but more importantly, there are 153 victims who need not fear their predators because of these arrests. The arrest highlights the amazing enforcement actions performed." It also highlights Kamala Harris's failure. In Baltimore, Maryland, I need you to focus on this. In Baltimore, Maryland, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement has hit a record 153 illegal alien sex offenders. Not 153 illegal aliens, but 153 illegal alien sex offender arrests. And their latest was deported twice, came back a third time as a gotaway, and